declined. Center Mike Pouncey on IR with a neck issue. Eligible to return this season, has to miss 8 weeks, though. LA also without left tackle Russell Okung, who's recovering from a pulmonary embolism.
At Napa, get a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $26.99 and a $10 mail-in rebate. General states pricing. Sale prices do not include applicable state and local taxes or recycling fees. Offer ends 10/31/19.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, the Minshew Mania tour continues. See, it's not just hashtag Minshew Mania. We've named it a tour. I think we should sell T-shirts and go to all Minshew's games in the T-shirts, just like you would do for a concert. Okay, some of you would, some of you wouldn't. Brent Martineau here in Brandon, Mississippi for one more day. We've really had a fun time here, and we said, you know what? We got to stick around for another day. We did a lot more TV things last night and today, and wanted to host the show one more day from here. So we are in Brandon, Mississippi. Brent Martineau, Stuart Weber, and back in Jacksonville, of course, Austin Lane, and Coos is back, done celebrating being number one yesterday, and good to have him as well. What's up, Austin Lane?
Nothing too much, man. Nothing too much. Happy Leif Erikson Day. You don't even know what that is, do you?
Does this have something to do with, like, what you would eat? Like Bachman was saying that you ate.
It can.
Something?
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm sure John Bachman is celebrating this day right along with me. Do you know?
This Norwegian?
It's Scandinavian, so Leif Erikson was actually the first European to touch base in the U.S. So
okay.
it's his day today.
So it's
happy
like
Leif
Columbus
Erikson
Day.
Ooh, yeah, but it's like the real Columbus Day because Columbus was kind of an imposer, right? Like wasn't really the first one. I mean, this is like trying to celebrate the real OG of travelers here, Brent.
I got you.
Yes.
So when I say, like, if Ty takes a bad route on a ball, like in the outfield or something, I say, nice route, Magellan.
Yeah.
I really should have been saying, nice route, Leif Erikson.
No, I mean, I think Magellan's, he's one of those guys that kind of has a pretty good reputation. But, I mean, if we're talking about the first guy to touch base in the U.S., you have to go Leif Erikson.
Ah, okay. I like
I'm
the
not trying to
history
hate
lesson
on
we're
Magellan.
starting the show with today.
Yeah.
By the way, history lesson right here. I mean, we are in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how you feel about it. Quite frankly, I'm not sure how I feel about it. But we are in downtown Brandon. So we're at the high school yesterday. Just to give everybody a lay of the land, I mean, it's a small town, right? 25, 30,000 people. Really nice city, too. Just outside of Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
A couple hours south of Starkville. A couple hours away from Tuscaloosa. So you got everything around, but it's a really nice town, and it's got some history, too. So we're on this street right now. Downtown is like, we're just 100 feet from it, really, the small downtown. But we're on this side street, and I'm looking out at a place that used to be the hotel, a place called the Black Rose Theater, which has been a theater for, I guess, more than a century. And then a couple of very small, like rundown-looking houses, small houses, that I guess one used to be a restaurant. Well, in this area right here where we are, this is a restaurant/bar now, and it's called Jenna Bena's is the restaurant upstairs. The downstairs is called The Gallows.
Okay.
And, well, that will give you some of the lesson because inside used to be the jail here in Brandon, Mississippi.
Okay.
And this is back in the 1850s now. Goes all the way back. The building was vacant for a long, long time, and just in the last year, they turned it into a restaurant/bar. Well, off to my left, so you're right, well, I think in like the last place here in town where they actually like hung a criminal.
Well, I was going to say, you kind of look like an FBI profiler right now with all those awkward pictures in the back, and you're just kind of chilling like in this musty room, it seems like. So, yeah. You're right in the wheelhouse right now, Brent.
Well, we are obviously we had to dress it up a little bit, so we put up some Minshew behind us.
It looks like you're on the case right now. It looks good.
We're not trying. Trying to hang Gardner. I can tell you. I mean, this is kind of the setting. So,
yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, this is downtown. This is a part of it. And you know what else happened here? And this is one of the reasons we came here. This is where Gardner Minshew's draft party was back in April.
Oh, okay.
And they actually just announced. They just named a drink after him inside the bar.
Nice.
So they'll be selling that drink, and and it's called the Minshew mustache, of course. So anyway, a little bit more of Brandon, Mississippi, and our Minshew Mania tour continues. And I tell you what, I feel like I could almost be the local historian here in town now.
Well, first of all, don't tease the audience, man. Don't tease me. Like, what's in this drink? Is it whiskey? Because I would assume it's whiskey.
No, it's not whiskey.
Okay.
Stuart might have to help me. There was a lot of ingredients in there. Okay. But Stuart, what was the main one? The vanilla something? Crown vanilla.
Crown vanilla
is the main ingredient. A little ginger ale after the fact, but there was like a dash of just ginger. Oh, ginger beer. Okay.
Okay.
They actually had ginger beer in there. I thought it was more of a mixed drink, so they threw the soda in. But there was a dash of this and a dash of that, and she was telling me, and I'll actually probably put it out on Twitter to tell you what she took me through the whole thing.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's a little bit of everything, and I don't really know. Apparently, we asked his dad about this last night when we were going through town. We actually did kind of like a drive-along with his dad, and he took us through town, and we'll have that on the TV side. But he said, I don't know what they're going to put in it. They asked him to kind of put whatever he wants in it, but he's kind of like he's a Jameson guy, right?
Yeah,
he said,
yeah.
And so there you go. So, but he didn't care. I don't think he said, hey, can you put this in it? I think they kind of came up with a concoction, and they named it the Minshew mustache. And just for the record, I have not tried it.
Yet.
Or maybe not a lot of it. We'll see how good the show is today and see if we can make it through. But we got to drive back a little bit later on tonight, so we'll be back in Jacksonville. But anyway, man, hey, big story out of Jacksonville. Jalen Ramsey practices.
There you go.
Your level of, okay, I expected that. Your level of surprise, your level of what? Your of interest in this. How did you react when you heard about it today?
Well, I mean, if you want to play the card where you think he's trying to be a distraction the whole time and show gamesmanship, an interesting strategy for Jalen Ramsey to practice and to try to lead the team on, obviously that's not what I think at all. I'm a little surprised that he actually came back this soon. I mean, he saw the specialist and everything, and by all accounts, I guess the specialist and the team doctor for the Jaguars are kind of on the same page of, where to go forward from here, which is a great sign. I mean, anytime, like the specialist and the team doctor are on the same page, that makes things a lot easier, because you always go for the second opinion, hoping to kind of gather what you've been thinking the whole time and not hear something new. So from that perspective, good sign on the injury front. And obviously it's a good sign and it's a good trend to him playing on Sunday, which they're going to need him against Michael Thomas and the Saints.
Yeah, if you're back on the practice field, don't you think that's a really good sign? Now, I say that with a bit of hesitation because Josh Oliver has been on the practice field, has been kind of limited, which is what Jalen Ramsey will be today or was today. But he has not played in games yet. So it doesn't mean you will play in a game just because you made it back on the practice field. I feel like that's usually the case. But with Josh Oliver, it hasn't been the case. I thought Josh Oliver might play last week, given how much he was on the practice field, and just didn't happen. So I don't think it's a lock that he'll play. And, of course, between now and Friday and even Saturday in a walkthrough, you never know. The back could get tweaked again. So we'll see how they play this. And if you are the skeptic here, and I think there's plenty of them,
yes, there
given
is.
Everything that has happened, I think you still could see some gamesmanship if you want to go that route. If you're a conspiracy theorist on this whole deal, there could be some gamesmanship. Hey, I got back to practice. I tweaked it again, or I didn't feel ready to go. And by the way, they are playing Michael Thomas, and they're going to really miss me on Sunday. There could be that part of it. I also think from that part of it, when it comes to Jalen Ramsey, what else is he going to do right now? The Jags have held steadfast that they're not trading him. The October 29th deadline is still a little bit ways away. If you want to trade for Jalen Ramsey, why are you going to trade for Jalen Ramsey when he's got a bad back and hasn't played in a couple games? So I think all those things added up. I don't know what else he has to do other than try to get back to the practice field, go out there and play, do what he said at that Tuesday press conference where he said, as long as I'm a part of it, I'm going to play my butt off and I'm going to play for my teammates and be a part of this thing. And, he still wants to get out of town. We understand that part. But I don't really know what else he has to do or can do other than try to get back and play, Austin.
Exactly. I mean, truthfully, if Jalen Ramsey doesn't want to be in Jacksonville, the only I guess, logical explanation or next approach would be for him just to come out and say, listen, I'm not going to play anymore. I'm not going to practice anymore. So either you trade me or I'm sitting out. It's as easy as that. And, through all the narratives of the sickness and him having a baby, there's one thing that you can't deny, and that Jalen Ramsey is a football player first, and he loves the game, and he loves to compete. And I think when Michael Thomas is coming into town, Jalen Ramsey understands that that's one of the most ultimate challenges right now in the NFL. this is the same Michael Thomas who burned Tampa Bay for 11 receptions, 182 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, you know, Brent, because you have in fantasy football, so you're reaping all those benefits. But if you're a football player, you know, if you're Jalen Ramsey and you consider yourself one of the biggest shutdown corners in the game, you embrace this challenge. You know, you want this challenge, and I think he's going to try everything to do in his power to get out there and play on Sunday. Now, you know, there's still a couple days, and whether it's a back injury or a hamstring injury, you know, like those soft tissue injuries or like those back injuries, Brent, you know, they can kind of linger a little bit, and maybe one day they're feeling good and the next day not so good. So obviously you have to keep it within reason in speculating is Jalen Ramsey going to play or not. But I'm just saying the fact that he wants to be out there today, you know, he's not doing everything. He's not going live reps, but at least he's making the effort. I think it's coming from a genuine place and not a place where he's trying to show some more gamesmanship.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're going to take a break. I got two big takeaways. Forget about Gardner Minshew, but 2 big takeaways so far on this trip. One being the fact that Flint Minshew stops at Buc-ee's and Busy Bee on the ride over. And 2, look at the sandwich. I don't know if you can see the feed.
Hang on.
Video feed?
I'll bring it up right now.
But Jenna Bennis.
Well, dang.
This is the redfish sandwich here, and that's lunch for yours truly.
Wow.
So you might have to take over a couple segments just so I can eat.
Yeah, that thing looks, my mouth is watering now. Thanks,
Brent. Grown up here, man.
I appreciate it, man.
I'm adaptable. I
could be a Mississippi boy.
I could be a Mississippi guy. I mean, I could do it. I mean, I'm from Rhode Island, for crying out loud. How many people from Rhode Island could say they could grow up in Mississippi?
Well, I'll tell you right now, man. Okay. I don't know. You have no place in Wisconsin because you don't know who Leif Erikson is, so you wouldn't be welcome there. But it's all good.
Wisconsin, I'm not tough enough for Wisconsin. That's for sure.
Absolutely
not. To say that people aren't tough from Mississippi, but I'm not tough enough for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'd have to put a lot of Vaseline on my arms.
There you go, man.
Short sleeves, right?
You better believe
when we come back, we dig deeper on the dirt of Gardner Minshew with his best friend. He joins us next. And by the way, I hear a bachelor party is going from Brandon, Mississippi to Jacksonville this weekend. Maybe we'll get some info on that as well. We might want to go, Austin. When we come back, Action Sports Jacks on the road, the Minshew Mania Tour on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, a pretty warm day again today with a few brief showers, highs in the low to mid-80s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website vidadelouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to vidadelouis.com.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
All Stars Restaurant and Bar, 1111 Sesame Boulevard. True $2 Tuesday, each and every Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. Happy hour special, $2 vodka, $3 wine, $5 Ciroc, $5 Hennessy, $12 oysters, 50-cent shrimp. All Stars Restaurant. Get there.
Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes.
Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Never trust your tax situation to anyone you can't walk in and look in the eye. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
You know you'd like to add an $80 gift card to your wallet. Well, that's exactly what you can get this October at any of Tire Outlet's 9 locations. We're here to tell you about the Yokohama Fall Rebate at TireOutlet.com. You'll receive up to $80 on a Visa prepaid card or Visa virtual account with your purchase of 4 select Yokohama tires. The Yokohama Fall Rebate offer, only this month. See more rebates and info at TireOutlet.com. Wholesale prices, premium service.
I think Carson Wentz is going to come back and have a resurgent year.
Are you not concerned at all with the lack of depth at quarterback position? They had to rely a lot on Nick Foles. Carson Wentz gets hurt every year.
Not every year.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, everybody. Trey Wingo from Golic and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, he's not a kid on the Saints. That's a grown dude over there. Yeah, Demario Davis, man. I was talking to him a little bit yesterday. He's a guy who went to my high school, looked up to him. I remember he came back and talked to us when I was in high school. Always been a great role model, so it'll be a lot of fun to play against him.
Yeah, Demario Davis, a big name around here in Brandon, Mississippi. He's a linebacker for the New Orleans Saints. He's played now a bit in the NFL, but he went to Brandon High School, so he's just as much a part of the lore of NFL guys from Brandon, Mississippi and Brandon High School. So it's not just Gardner Minshew. It is for us in Jacksonville, of course, but they call it the Brandon Bowl coming up on Sunday because it will be Demario Davis and it will be Gardner Minshew, and hopefully Minshew gets the better of Davis and the Saints on Sunday. But a lot of the folks in town are going over to this game in particular because of the 2 Brandon players, also because it's heavy Saints country over here in Mississippi, and so it's just the perfect setting to go catch a game if you are going to catch a game. It's making it one of the difficult tickets to get, by the way, on the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and even some of the folks here have said, hey, can you help us out? We need some tickets. This guy that we're going to bring in, he just has to call his buddy Gardner Minshew, because Austin, as we welcome everybody back, as we're in Brandon, Mississippi, you're back in the Action Sports Shack studios. How would you feel right now if I had your best friend from Iola, Scandinavia, Wisconsin, on the radio?
Yep.
And wouldn't you kind of be like, please don't tell that story?
Well,
don't tell that story. Don't tell me that. Don't tell him that.
Yeah. Having my mom on the show was hard enough. Having one of my best friends on the show, it would be an absolute professional nightmare for me, and I probably wouldn't be with the station that much longer after the interview. So I'd be nervous.
We have learned this. Gardner Minshew has nowhere near the dirt that you had probably in high school. We've tried
Let's
like heck,
hope so,
man.
yeah.
But right now we are welcoming in his best friend, Houston Smith, is with us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And Houston's well-versed at this now. He's done enough interviews. He knows what he can say and can't say. Okay. So we probably won't get too much. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, how cool is this? This is how nice the people are in Brandon, Mississippi. Houston goes to school at Mississippi State. That's 2 hours away. He's about to catch a flight at 4 o'clock this time to go to Jacksonville and be there this weekend, and he still makes time to stop by. So we appreciate you doing that.
Man, glad to do it. No problem with that.
Don't miss your flight because of us, all right?
I got
Don't do that. And we'll see you in Jacksonville hopefully this weekend. Yes, you guys have like a big contingent going over there. I know you're going to go hang out with Gardner a little bit. He's got work to do, but you and some buddies. And I think there's a bachelor party going on over there this weekend in Jacksonville, right?
Something like that. That's right. One of our best buds growing up, Josh Stowers, he's getting married November 9th. And so, we decided to take the bachelor party to Jacksonville, go hang out for a weekend, watch the game. So we've got a squad going. It's about 10 or 11 guys from this area coming. And, we're fired up. It's gonna be, if it went anything like the draft party, then it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, and this is where the draft party was, and I've had few people say, "Whoa!" Now you know when they give you the facial expression and not really the words. That's the way the draft party was here in Brandon, Mississippi. I've had the facial expression more than the actual words to describe it, and it's been pretty good. Now here's the deal: you can't have that Gardner Minshew part of that bachelor party until Sunday night, man. You got it.
That's right. We got you.
Well, actually,
take care of our guys.
Friday night. You get a little. That's kind of the night to go out for the NFL guys. But take care of them.
We got you.
All right.
Don't worry.
I know. You know it's a big responsibility around here.
Houston, so I have to ask you. First of all, congratulations to Josh. Second of all, have you guys been to Jacksonville yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
My dad actually got to go for the Titans game, the Thursday night game, but I haven't gotten to go yet. I went to Houston for his first start, so this will be my first time in Duval, so I'm pretty fired up to get down there.
So is there like a bachelor party itinerary? You guys going to Jacksonville Beach? You going downtown? Do you know where to go yet?
I don't know if we've even gotten that far. Knowing our group of guys, it's just kind of like go with the flow, play it by ear.
For sure.
I know we have an Airbnb, and I know we're going to the game Sunday. I think we're playing Topgolf at some point, and we'll probably go. I'm sure Gardner will be able to kind of help us out with where the good spots are to go, and so I'm just going with the flow, honestly. Wherever they say, this is where we're going, I'm down for whatever. So.
I like your style.
Austin's a former Jags player. And he was also very prevalent out at Jack's Beach, so he can probably tell you some hot spots.
If you guys if you need like a bachelor party coordinator, man, I'm your guy. Because let's be honest, Gardner's got to focus on the Saints. So if you guys need help, just give me a call, hit me up. I have no problem helping you guys out.
Yeah, for sure. The thing about us too, we're the type of guy, we're gonna have fun wherever we go. So
sure,
we're gonna make it a good time no matter what.
I said this to his dad yesterday, and I've said this to Austin too, and some other folks, and I think it's pretty interesting, when guys, depending on what time of life you're in, usually when guys get to the NFL and they take off and there's some stardom to it, by that time, maybe they're a few years in and maybe they're settled down, right? They're married, they might have kids. For Gardner, I mean, your group of guys that you're hanging out with, it's like college extended.
Right.
Isn't it? Does it feel like, I mean, you guys
Even
are all
high
still
school
close,
extended,
high school extended. I mean, isn't that there's a fun part of that? You guys can all be a part of this. And I know what you've all said and you've told me, and I mean, he's still the same guy when he gets around all you guys.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of what's special about our friend group, our group of guys, is that we it's a smaller circle a little bit, but we're super tight-knit. And, it's like you said, Gardner's still the same guy he was when we were 16 years old running around in Brandon. So it's just really special to be able to kind of share these moments with him and just follow him and keep up with him. And
now, is there a code? Like, can you seriously not tell us some stories?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I've, like you said, I've done enough of these to know, what I can and can't say, and I'm a little more scared of Gardner's mama than I am of Gardner. So yeah, a little bit of a code there for sure.
I think she might even be learning some stories.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. She didn't. The handbraking story when he was at ECU, she was like. She confronted like me and Flynn about that. She was like, "Did y'all know about this the whole time?" And we were just like, "Yeah, we did."
We just knew a detail or two.
Right? Yeah, she had no idea. So
that's fun stuff. We're here with Houston Smith, really good friends, best friends with Gardner Minshew, and they're all coming over to Jacksonville this weekend. How fun from your perspective? I mean, you're going to school, you have stuff going on. But this inner circle of friends that you have, I mean, are you guys like pinching yourself a little bit? Like, holy cats, man, look at how he's playing. I mean, we know he's good. I get it. I mean, he's good in high school. He didn't get his fair chance, and he was good at Washington State. But this is the NFL.
Right.
It's a 6th-round pick. And he wasn't even supposed to be playing this year.
Yes, sir.
I mean, how much are you guys like, dang?
There's a little bit of yes and no there. I guess, there is some like pinch yourself. Like, this is surreal. When you see him lining up on Sundays against, J.J. Watt and Pat Mahomes and guys like that. But, if you would have asked me when we were 16, 17 years old and he didn't have a single D1 offer, like, is this guy legit? I would have told you he's going to play in the NFL one day. If you knew him, there was never a doubt. So I always knew he'd be here. I knew all he ever needed really was an opportunity. And he really, truly got that at Washington State and, ran with it. And, he's, when Nick went down, it was his time. He was kind of next man up. His time to step up, make the most of his opportunity. And as soon as I saw him take the field, I was like, it's on now. I knew he was going to do his thing. It's just it's kind of crazy, I guess, how he's become like such a phenomenon with the mustache and the jorts and all that. But I couldn't have expected this fame and all that. But I knew that he would be. I knew he was special, and we all did, and we all knew that he'd be doing what he's doing right now.
That's pretty cool. Hey, Austin, for Houston's sake and the rest of the bachelor party's sake at some time this weekend, I hope he saves the jock strap stretching just for the locker.
Well, and that was kind of my question for Houston. I mean, if we could take anything away so far from Gardner Minshew, obviously he's playing at a very high level, but he's very comfortable in being in his own skin, being comfortable being who he is. Is that something that you're kind of like your whole crew has always been like? Is that something that's kind of special more to Gardner, or is that how all you guys are in Mississippi?
I guess that's kind of a Mississippi thing a little bit, but, Gardner's a little bit extreme with it, I guess. He's a little bit more comfortable in his skin than the rest of us. That, we weren't all walking around town in our jock straps or anything like that. But so I guess maybe that's where he gets from. It's just kind of Mississippi. That's a Mississippi thing, but Gardner's definitely a little more comfortable than the rest of us.
Gotcha. So you Mississippi State guy?
I am a Mississippi State
were you
guy.
growing up too?
Yes, sir.
Because that's one thing about here, Austin. I mean, I went to the elementary school today, and there were a few kids that are like, Ole Miss, and it's Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And that Egg Bowl around here is a big deal. By the way, I might get to the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving Day. That's the plan because of the neighbors. Ring that bell, Austin. You got to ring that. There you go.
There we go.
Say we got a Mississippi State bell in the studio. But it's real that you guys, I say you guys, everybody around Gardner Minshew was pretty miffed and still holds that anger or to a chip that nobody gave this guy a shot. I mean, now you're on campus, man. You walk into that football office. If Dan Mullen was still there, you'd probably walk in and be like, see what you could have had.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, I guess, but it's kind of at the point where the way it all worked out, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah.
I know that he ended up exactly where he was meant to be. Everything that he went through, I think, made him better. Everything, from not having any offers to going to JUCO, winning the national championship, going to ECU, struggling, battling for playing time, and then getting his shot at Washington State and running with it from there. I think it worked out exactly the way it was supposed to work out.
Yes.
Definitely there's a little bit of, man, all these in-state schools, you could have had this guy, but, he ended up exactly where he's supposed to be, and I'm just thankful that he finally got his opportunity somewhere.
Think about the places that are happy that it worked out this way. Not only you guys, you have great perspective on it, even though you can still carry that chip and admit that there is some, what were you guys thinking? But Washington State certainly was happy that it ended up that way because they had a heck of a year last year with Gardner at the quarterback and all the attention and all the fun. Really, I don't even say I don't think people are looking for attention. I just think it's a fun thing.
Absolutely.
And we're experiencing it. I've been in Jacksonville for 12 years now. People have been around this team for 25 seasons. This is different. This is unique. You have some good football players that come through, but this is a unique thing in the NFL that's happening, and it's a lot of fun. And the Jaguars, if he doesn't take this route, I'm not sure they end up with him in the 6th round. So what you're saying is right on the money. Houston Smith with us, a really good friend with Gardner Minshew. We're here in Brandon, Mississippi. Austin, we got to let this guy go. He's got to catch a plane so we can get to Jacksonville. You got anything more for Houston?
No, obviously you guys enjoy yourselves here in Jacksonville. Enjoy the bachelor party. Enjoy the game. I do Uber a little bit too, so maybe I'll see you guys on one of my Uber routes and everything like that, and I'll get you where you need to go safely.
For sure, yeah. I'll hit you up for the hot spots.
All right, cool.
We got that down, Pat. But are you guys like crazy in the stands? Like,
yeah.
Will you go nuts?
For sure.
So this is like full out.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You're watching Gardner. This is like watching State play or anything.
Yeah, for sure. With Gardner, it goes up a notch though, so it's gonna get rowdy a little bit.
Awesome. Wear that Jags gear proud over there in Starkville. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Have some fun. Have a good trip, and we'll probably see you on Sunday as well. Houston Smith, really good buddies with Gardner Minshew, catching a flight to Jacksonville. That's gonna be one heck of a bachelor party, especially if the Jags get the win on Sunday. We'll be back. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. More from what's coming out of Jags headquarters today on a Wednesday next.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Jalen Ramsey was back at practice today after missing the past 2 games with back problems. He saw a specialist in Houston, and now he's taking things slow. That's according to head coach Doug Marrone.
I think we're just going to take it step by step. I think this way, go out there and, we'll stretch in here and see how that goes. If that goes well, then we'll go outside and, We'll warm up, we'll stretch, and if that goes well, we'll go to the next. So I think we'll just take it, just step by step.
Baseball news. All 4 teams in the NLDS play tonight, with St. Louis and Atlanta in the early game and Washington and LA playing later. And in the ALDS, the Tampa Bay Rays were able to pull even with Houston, tying the series at 2 games apiece. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service. TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. Locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
It's Dollar Down Days at Planet Fitness. Now through October 11th, you can join Planet Fitness for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. So if you really think about it, you have plenty of cardio equipment between your couch cushions and quite a few strength machines in your cup holder. Oh, then there's that free fitness training in your sock drawer. So check every couch, cup holder, and coin purse and join by October 11th for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. Join in club or at planetfitness.com now through October 11th. Planet Fitness clubs are independently owned and operated. See club for details.
I'm Thea Jeffers, owner of Breezy Jazz Club and T-Works Interior Decorating. It doesn't matter where you come from, it's possible to own your own business. But starting a business isn't easy. The Jacksonville Women's Business Center helped give me the confidence to keep going when the going got tough. At JWBC, I got the training, networking, and support I needed to help me reach my goals. To find out more about how JWBC can help you, visit jaxwbc.com.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Where I'm from, marijuana is legal. Can I use it in Florida? Nah, it's illegal here, man. But I have PTSD. Should I at least try to get medical marijuana?
That's legal. But if I were you, I'd talk to my doctor about qualifying conditions and to find out if medical marijuana is even right for you.
Thanks. I'll talk to my doctor.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
As you know by now, I love the wings at Mr. Chubby's Wings. Hey, everyone, this is Brent Martineau. You'll love them, too, and you have to try the wings. But Mr. Chubby's has a full menu. Parents, kids, and sports teams, this is made for you. The American Dream Special. Burgers, fries, and a famous Mr. Chubby Shake for just $12.99. The American Dream Special. I suggest throwing in some wings, too, especially the Maple Cajun. 2 locations, the West Side and in Fleming Island. Chub it up at the place to be, Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
And this guy writes in, where was all this Masvidal love before his recent success? Real fans have had his back for a long time.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Like I said before, it's been a resilient football team, and the way you've been able to tell is because we have fallen behind. You know, we're going to try and do our best to come out and play smart and play good football early on and not get ourselves in that hole. And it's going to be a great challenge this week with a really good football team coming in. But like I said before, I'm glad that we're at home.
Yeah, it's nice to be at home for the Jags after a couple on the road, and it's a critical one because then they go on the road at Cincinnati, they'll come back home against the Jets, and then they go to London, which is a home game, but it's still on the road. So this first half of the year, listen, life in the NFL is not easy. You can do it. You can spin it any way you want to spin it. and you probably find 2 road games in 4 weeks, 2 road games in 3 weeks, whatever it might be. The Jags are always taxed from a travel standpoint because of the London game. It's a little bit of a disadvantage, but they've also been able to use that as an advantage in the grand scheme of things with some recent success, not last year, but the previous 3 they had won over there in London. Brent Martineau here in Brandon, Mississippi. The Jags won't play a game here, but they certainly watch Jags football now here in Brandon, Mississippi because of Gardner Minshew. Really has been a fun couple of days. Thanks for hanging out with us here as our Minshew Mania tour rolls on. We'll head back to Jacksonville late tonight and be around tomorrow back in studio. Austin Lane has been in studio getting ready for a big fight coming up on November 9th, or he would be with us on the road. And by the way, Austin Lane makes the road a little bit more fun. I mean, Stuart Weber's great. But I mean, last time, man, we drove by Mobile. We drove right through Mobile.
Yeah.
We actually ate at the Half Shell last night here in Brandon. They have one. Remember, that's where we ate during the Senior Bowl.
Well, so yeah, exactly. And I'm just still bummed because I haven't been to a Busy Bee or what's the other one now? The Beaver one? There's a Beaver one now too?
Buc-ee's.
Yeah. So now apparently there's a Beaver one because you guys talk it up like it's like Epcot at Disney World.
It is. It's better than Disney.
Oh, Brent, easy now. So
it's
I can't wait
like
to
the
take part
Disney
with
of convenience stores.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna hold off my trips with those 2 places until I'm with you and Stuart.
All right. We'll have to hit them, and that means there's a long drive ahead for us, by the way.
Eventually, I don't know where we're going to go, but we'll figure it out.
Well, we might be heading back to Mobile in January, so maybe that is the time. Hey, I asked you this question now. Did you do some homework? You're usually a good homework guy.
I did do some homework, yeah.
See, what I usually do is I forget the question that I asked the day before, but I didn't do it this time.
Good call.
So the big news out of Jags headquarters is we're here in Mississippi and talking a lot about Gardner Minshew. He talked today. We'll hear more from Gardner. We also know Jalen Ramsey practiced. Josh Oliver continues to be day-to-day. The Jags signed Ben Koyak, familiar name, tight end, so at least he kind of knows the operation of the Jags. Doesn't know the offensive coordinator well, but they do add a tight end with James O'Shaughnessy going down for the year and on IR with the torn ACL. But the big story is, of course, Jalen Ramsey. We already hit on it, and we'll talk more about it in a moment. Mm-hmm. That being said, we don't know if Ramsey will play, and that could impact maybe this question that I'm about to ask. And the homework assignment was, what should the Jags be more concerned about from a New Orleans football team that I think is more well-rounded than people want to give them credit for?
Correct.
Should they be concerned about the offense, which is what we kind of know New Orleans for? Sean Payton, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, now Michael Thomas. We know those guys. They can be really dangerous. And it used to be Ingram as well that was a part of that. But obviously Brees isn't playing. Teddy Bridgewater, he looks like he's getting better and better every week. He is a phenomenal story in his own right. Mm-hmm. But this defense is the one that people sleep on. This defense is the reason they were Super Bowl contenders last year, in my opinion. And their defense still is pretty good. So how would you answer the question, man?
So, I mean, honestly, Brent, they're 4-1 for a reason, right? So you can kind of go to either side of the fence, but I know how you operate, and you don't like me to sit on the fence.
Nope.
So with that being said, I'm going to go with the offense. Now, before I go with the offense, though, I tell you why, let's talk about their defense real quick, because they're no slouches at all. This is a team that, held Ezekiel Elliott when they played to 35 yards rushing. 35 yards rushing. And he was the rush leader last year. He was the rushing champion last year. And then this is also a team, I mean, it's not just in the run game, Brent. We always talk about how good their defensive line is. Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport, Sheldon Rankins. I mean, they have a really solid defensive line. But their secondary is pretty good, too, especially with Lattimore. We want to talk about a guy named Mike Evans. Mike Evans a couple weeks ago absolutely went off for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see. So in week 3, Mike Evans came out 8 catches, 190 yards, 3 touchdowns. Week 4 against LA, 4 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. And then the Bucs stunned LA, obviously, in their home place. Week 5, this past week, Marcus Lattimore taking Mike Evans the entire time. 0 catches, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 targets. So their defense is no slouches. So don't get it twisted. But I just think from their offensive perspective, Brent, they have so many ways that they can beat you on offense, right? Like, obviously, first of all, it's Michael Thomas. I mean, we've been talking about him the entire week already. Is Jalen Ramsey going to play? Is Jalen Ramsey going to be able to cover Michael Thomas? The guy is an absolute game wrecker. He can run every single route in the tree. He can beat you deep, beat you short, get you in space. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the guy's going to get his catches regardless. And Teddy Bridgewater is playing pretty good football right now to get him the ball. And then also there's another guy by the name of Ted Ginn Jr., and Ted Ginn Jr. would be like, he's kind of like the Will Fuller, like I talked about against Houston, right? Like they're going to try to take their deep shots with Ted Ginn. So it begs the question, if Ramsey does play, well, then you can put, AJ Boye on him, it's going to be okay. But if for some reason Ramsey doesn't play, well, then you got to keep an eye on Ted Ginn Jr. as well. And then, of course, in the backfield, you have a guy by the name of Alvin Kamara, who's one of the best backs in the league. He can be a power runner. He can be a pass catcher. Whatever you need him to do, the dude's going to run with bad intentions. And then we got to take into account, too, as well, Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, the backup quarterback right now, they put him at tight end. They put him at receiver. He's kind of like that gadget guy, a super athlete. He's also a punt returner sometimes. So you have to keep in mind when Taysom Hill's on the field, too, because they do so many things with him.
Yeah, it's a good point. You talk about all that offense and what they can do, and I think Sean Payton obviously is a really good mind, too, when it comes to calling offenses. And I think the confidence that Teddy Bridgewater's playing with right now is a big thing. And then what you add into that on that offensive side is the fact that the defense of the Jags, you don't know what you're going to get right now. Yep. I mean, you really don't. I mean, I could see the Jags having a phenomenal performance on Sunday because I've seen it enough over the last couple of years. But now I have to at least take into account they might give up 150 yards to Alvin Kamara. They might give up 165 yards to Michael Thomas. They might let Teddy Bridgewater make some throws that, well, you don't want to let him make. But I do think it all comes back to what you really always say, and this week especially is stop the run. I will take my chances with Teddy Bridgewater beating me, okay? It's not Drew Brees, and he's not even close to Drew Brees. And while he's getting more confident and better, and he does have Michael Thomas, and he can still use Kamara out of the backfield and all those things, it's a totally different game if he's throwing the football more than they're running the football. And you know how this works because you've been around it so long. You played. Yeah. And I don't know what they say to a team, but they say something because it's such a point of emphasis coming off at 285 yards allowed on defense for the Jaguars that all they're talking about is do not let that back get over 100 yards. Do not slip a tackle, miss a tackle. I think it was, I saw Ryan O'Halloran, who we'll have on a little bit later, but it's an interesting dynamic because 2 weeks ago, they ran all over Denver. Well, last week, Melvin Gordon and the Chargers offense didn't do anything, and they held them to 13 points, and Denver wins the game on the road. Well, you know why? Because, well, the emphasis all week was stop the run. Stop the run. You cannot get pushed around at the line of scrimmage. That they got challenged, and their defense was up for the challenge. I also saw a stat where the Jags game, they missed 15 tackles in the Jags game. In the Chargers game, they missed 1. That was Ryan O'Halloran. He tweeted that out. So that tells you there's such an emphasis and focus, and it's a wake-up call because these guys have pride, that my guess, Austin, is they're going to do a pretty good job against the run. That means Teddy Bridgewater will have to beat them on the defensive side.
So do you want to know who leads the league? I'm glad you brought up the broken tackles. Do you know who leads the league right now in broken tackles?
Individually or as a team missed?
Individually for the running back position.
You're going to tell me Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. Yep. And it's by a landslide, to tell you the truth.
Really?
It really is, yeah. So, yes, exactly. If you're Todd Wash right now, if you're the defensive coordinator, if you're a defensive position coach, you have to drive it home that, listen, we need to have our pursuit angles down. We need to be on our P's and Q's. We need to have good tackling fundamentals. And we have to make sure that Kamara doesn't beat us. Now, another guy we haven't really mentioned too, Brent, is Jared Cook, right? Jared Cook was a Pro Bowler last year for the Oakland Raiders, and now he's kind of the afterthought of the Saints team, but he's a guy that they can get going too, right? Because if anything that the Jaguars have showed us so far this year is that there's been miscommunication and there's been suspect play on defense, especially I think in that linebacking core. So, if you want to use Jared Cook to exploit that, you do. If you want to use Alvin Kamara to exploit that, you do. So, I think this is going to be a game where obviously you got to play better in the run game, but you have to focus on the communication part. If you're Todd Wash right now and you're going through the game plan, you just got to make sure that everyone's on the same page, whether that's throwing exotic looks at the offense or not. At this point, Brent, I'm going to be honest with you. I was all for the 3-4, right? I was all for confusing quarterbacks, confusing offenses, keep those guys guessing a little bit and let your athletes be athletes. But it's to the point now where, sure, maybe on third down you can kind of throw some exotic looks out there, but I would rather have a defense run the most vanilla defense of all time just so long as the guys are on the same page, right? And that's exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars need right now.
Well, it's interesting, Austin, as we head to a break, and we'll talk about the Saints defense in just a little bit versus the Jags offense.
Yeah.
Because I still think it's a toss-up which one. And I think I'm not convinced it's their offense that I'm more concerned about. I think their defense might be it. And I got a couple of reasons why, so we'll share that. But you talk about being vanilla a little bit more so you can play faster and you don't have to worry about the disguises. To me, it points all the way back to one guy, Quincy Williams. He's a young guy at the linebacker spot. They had a lot of fit problems. They actually benched him. They brought in Najee Good. Would you play Najee Good? Would you start him this week, or do you give Quincy Williams another crack at it?
It's a great question. If it's me, I'm going to go with the young kid. I'm going to throw Quincy Williams back in there. I'm going to assume that he's got everything cleaned up. He's ready to take a next step forward, and it's a life lesson. Chalk it up and get ready to go play. So I'm playing Quincy Williams.
All right, when we come back, the Jaguars' offense against the Saints' defense on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
We welcome Mike Leach to the show, giving you a scenario that in September of 2019, week 2 of the NFL season, Gardner Minshew would be the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars or a grad coach somewhere else. Which would you have picked?
Gardner came about a year from just sort of checking out and being a coach. So it's really, I think, fulfilling to a lot of us to see Gardner in the NFL.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family-owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations, or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
Time to register for the 16th Annual USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K, one of the premier running events in the Southeast. It all happens Saturday, October 12th, starting at Metro Park. It's a family-friendly event featuring high-tech military vehicles and prizes. Proceeds benefit the Jacksonville USO and other military charities. The USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K, happening October 12th. Don't wait. Register today online at jacksusohalfmarathon.com.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
All Stars Restaurant and Bar, 1111 Sesame Boulevard. True $2 Tuesday, each and every Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. Happy hour special, $2 vodka, $3 wine, $5 Ciroc, $5 Hennessy, $12 oysters, 50-cent shrimp. All Stars Restaurant. Get there.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Hey, Maurice Jones-Drew, how many times did you ask for a trade while you were a player?
I asked one time. I think it was when I was holding out. Kind of was like, hey, if this is the way you feel about me, maybe we can work something where I can go somewhere else.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
Oh, no, they're very good defense. They're very, very tough up front. Got a good D-line, athletic and smart. They're all vets at linebacker. And then probably one of the most talented sets of DBs we've seen. So it's a good challenge, and I think one we'll be ready for.
Well, that's Gardner Minshew earlier today, and we are in Minshew's hometown of Brandon, Mississippi, as our Minshew Mania tour rolls on. But it's all about football for Gardner, the Jags QB. Now will make his 5th start in the NFL. He's 2-2 Remember, he doesn't get credit for the win or loss, which would have been a loss, against Kansas City because he came in relief in that game, even though he played quite a bit in that football game. That loss goes to Nick Foles when the Jags lost the season opener. Brent Martineau here, Austin Lane and Coos back in the Action Sports Jack studios. Stuart Weber hanging out with me here, doing a good job, both for the TV side and radio side the last couple of days. We've been running all around Brandon, Mississippi, and we'll have some of those stories later in the week on TV and also on our Countdown to Kickoff show, 11:30 on CBS 47 on Sunday as the Jags get set for a big game. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Jags offense going against the Saints defense that I think gets overlooked at times. What's that matchup like? And I might even be a bit more concerned about the defense of the Saints, believe it or not, than their offense. But first, let's welcome in Sakib. He's got an interesting question. And Sakib, thanks for listening. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What you got, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey,
well.
it'd be nice. It'd be nice if we win this week, but I don't know. But let me ask you guys this: if there was a draft being held right now, tonight, and there's all these quarterbacks that was drafted, this year, would you guys draft Gardner Minshew number 1, like Arizona drafted their guy? Because I think he's really darn good, and I'm really happy we have him here. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys would have to say about that.
Sakib, a really good question, man. Thanks for listening to the show again. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, and it's a great thought, and it goes a little bit back, Austin, to what I said yesterday that we really haven't talked a lot about, and I don't want to get carried away because I think it is a little early. But are we on the verge, and should we talk about a little bit more of big picture? Is this guy about to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL for a long, long time, or is this just still, I think you could say, okay, this is a nice few moments, and does it have staying power? I think critics could certainly say that. There's not a lot of critics out there right now, Gardner Minshew, nor should there be. But I think it's a question to ask because we've seen it before in the NFL where guys just can't keep that going on for a long, long time. So to piggyback off what Sakib said and what we were talking about from a franchise standpoint yesterday, I think that the way scouts work, and the way GMs work and front offices work, I think they would still have a lot of trouble picking a guy that's 6'1", that has questionable arm strength on some throws, at least coming out, and is curious about those things and got it done for basically a year at Washington State. I think that's the way GMs would answer it and say it. And now, would he be in the pick in the 6th round coming off what we've seen? Absolutely not. What I'm saying is I'm not sure he'd be picked number 1 like Kyler Murray, or even number, 6 for Daniel Jones. I'm not sure he would be picked higher than those guys, but he's playing like a first-round pick, man.
Hey, man, how about you get off the fence and answer the question? If you're a GM right now, would you take him as a top spot?
I would say – now, I get the chance to look at the other guys too, right, of what they've done?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think we're taking all the stats into consideration right now and all the success that every rookie quarterback has had this year.
Make sure I don't miss anybody. So we got Kyler Murray at 1. We had Daniel Jones at number 6. We had Dwayne Haskins at around 15, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Then you have guys like what, Mason Rudolph and those kind of guys?
Well, no, Mason Rudolph wasn't.
No, that was last year.
Yeah, Drew Lock, but he hasn't
Drew
played
Lock,
yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Lock was a big story. Remember coming out of the Senior Bowl?
Oh yeah.
I was like, keep an eye on Lock now. He was pretty impressive in the interviews, and he had some questionable height and all that. But all right, I'll stay off the fence. Absolutely, Haskins. No, and keep in mind, a lot of people around here wanted Haskins. They really wanted Haskins before this team even signed Nick Foles. I'm not a huge Kyler Murray guy. I don't think I think he's a system guy for Kingsbury. I don't know how well he would do if you put him in Jacksonville. So I wouldn't go there. I still think what I've seen out of Daniel Jones and the check in the boxes and what he's handled already in New York, I'd probably still take Daniel Jones ahead of Gardner Minshew at this point of what I've seen so far in 2019.
So you would take Daniel Jones at the top spot?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Am I getting I feel like I'm going to maybe never leave the gallows after saying something like that.
No, dude, that's your opinion. You're all good. To be truthful, I would probably put Minshew right now at number 2 because he's a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong. And he's been playing lights out. But I think the factor is he's also on a pretty good team in terms of offense. I think he has great weapons. I think he's got he's supposed to have a good defense that has his back. That hasn't really been the case so far. But, like, if you watch Kyler Murray, I mean, he's kind of doing it by himself right now. He's got Larry Fitzgerald, but the offensive line's atrocious. David Johnson, for whatever reason, isn't playing like himself this year, I feel like. And the defense of the Arizona Cardinals is not helping him at all. So I would honestly probably put Kyler Murray at the top spot, but I would put Gardner Minshew probably at number 2 right now, even ahead of Daniel Jones. I just think with Kyler Murray, there's so much that you can actually do with him, you know?
Yeah. One last thought on that for a second is, you think this guy's going to be your franchise quarterback for 15 years. You think Kyler Murray can be that. You got to think Gardner Minshew can be that, too.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of question. It's an interesting question. It's a good debate. And by the way, I think we all would say right now, this guy's a first-round talent. He's a first-round guy. Doubt. Yep. I mean, that's a big jump from where he got picked 6th round and where they had this draft party right here in Brandon, Mississippi at the Gallows Bar. We'll come back from the Gallows, and we'll talk more about the Jags-Saints game. I want to get to that offense versus defense next on ESPN 690.
Attention, men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Hey, boss.
What?
You think it's okay to get out of here yet?
No, the cops may be still patrolling around out there. Give it another 10 minutes.
Okay. Boss?
What?
You still mad at me?
Well, let's assess our situation, shall we? Here we are hiding out from the cops in this storm pipe because you neglected to determine that the house we came up on had safe touch security. Is my assessment correct?
Yeah, but I swear they didn't have safe touch last week.
I don't want to hear about it, Corn Pop. We didn't even get to the front door before the safe touch video monitoring kicked in. Now here we are, crouching in this stinking ditch.
Sorry, boss.
Just so I know you know, tell me the Crooks Arrest motto again.
Stay away from safe touch houses.
At least you got that right.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Lowe's makes it easy for pros like you to get the supplies you need for the job, plus deals to help you save. Whether you're building new construction or managing properties, shop now and get 15% off custom doors and windows. And lock down $10 savings on a Kwikset Cameron Satin Nickel Keyed Combo Pack, now just $39.98. It features smart keyed security technology so the lock can be rekeyed in seconds. For this job and every job after, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's, U.S. only.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless where you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The spotlight today on Atlanta and Los Angeles for a pair of winner-take-all Game 5s in the National League Division Series. Coverage of the Braves and Cardinals in 30 minutes on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Then two of the NL's best pitchers face off when Walker Buehler and the Dodgers welcome Steven Strasburg and the Nationals. Buehler was brilliant in the series opener, but there is a concern when it comes to the 25-year-old with so much at stake, points out ESPN's Buster Olney.
For a young pitcher, I'm always curious about arm side command as they start, because it always feels like adrenaline can manifest itself with their delivery going too quickly, with them spinning open, with their fastball sort of spraying up and to the right for a right-handed batter.
Buster on the Baseball Tonight podcast. Clayton Kershaw is expected to follow Buehler out of the bullpen. He could pitch multiple innings. Coverage 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. NFL, Jags cornerback Jalen Ramsey back at practice today on a limited basis as he continues to deal with that back injury. His status against the Saints on Sunday is uncertain.
Right now, Dodge is offering Power Dollars. Get $10 off for each horsepower of your new car, all the way up to $7,970 off for a Challenger SRT Hellcat Redeye. Hurry into your local Dodge dealer today.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
You know, I think each week you got these great challenges. He's another challenge for our defense, along with, you know, probably the best wide receiver in the game right now playing, one of the top ones for sure. With Thomas, you have, Teddy Bridgewater's playing well. They have a good offensive line, good tight ends. You know, they just got, overall, you look from each level of play of the defense and the offense, they have good football players.
Yeah, they built a nice team there in New Orleans, no doubt about it. I'm in Saints country right now. They love the New Orleans Saints here in Mississippi. We're in Brandon, Mississippi. Brent Martineau, Action Sports Jags, Austin Lane, back in the studios. He's safe, surrounded by Jags fans, of course.
Oh, yes.
But this will be a fun game, I think, on Sunday. The ticket prices are way up for this game. I think there are a decent amount of Saints fans, even in the Jacksonville area, that are also Jags fans, but it's a regional team. So the Saints are one of those teams, I said it before, too. They're kind of hard not to like, right? They're a little bit like the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that you really – I mean, why would you hate the Saints?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Sean Payton rubs you the wrong way, but outside of that, Drew Brees seems like a class dude, and it's a cool city. It's a fun city. It's a good fan base. They had terrible times for so long. Katrina flipped the script a little bit and made them almost an emotional favorite for people across the country. And then they won the Super Bowl in 2009, the Steve Gleason story. I mean, it's really hard not to like the Saints, man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I'm trying to think of, like, my experiences of playing there, if I ever really had a negative experience, and I can't say that I have. One of my best friends that I made here in Jacksonville, he was a big Saints fan. He was from the area, and I've been back home with him a little bit. And, yeah, New Orleans, it's a really cool scene, and I think for the most part, I think their fans are respectable. I think they just like to have a good time. Obviously, it's New Orleans after all. So with that being said, yeah, I really can't nitpick their fan base at all. I think they're pretty great.
I guess the only thing people now in the last year are a little tired of is maybe the whining from the pass interference play. But you know what? I have no problem with that. Well, I think they'll whine about that. They'll complain about that. They'll put a curse next to it for as long as they don't win. Now, hopefully for Saints fans, maybe they make it this year and maybe get it done. But, I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. They might go 30 more years without winning the Super Bowl. That's what happens in sports. But that will become one of those things that you'll always remember. And the fans, they'll be like, we were so close. We were this close, and we didn't get it. We got robbed. And you know what? I have no problem with them saying that. They want to say that for the next however many decades. If some people around here, when we say Miles Jack wasn't down, people are like, all right, let it go. It's over. I'm like, Why? So what? Don't let it go. You were 5 minutes away from the Super Bowl. Don't let that go. That's part of your history now. You were this close. It's hard to get that close. I've got no problem with Saints fans complaining about that call. I've got no problem with people saying Miles Jack wasn't down.
No, I don't have an issue with that either. I remember, I think a few times on my Ballin and Fallin segment, though, we did issue, I think one of the courts in New Orleans, asked that the officials, appear in court for some kind of thing. So there's things that get taken to the extreme. And that's like anything with sports, it seems like. But no, as far as, the fans being upset and still bringing up that call, I have no problem with that at all, because how many times do we hear Miles Jack wasn't down? So from that perspective, from the fans' perspective, who doesn't take it too aggressively, who doesn't want to see the refs in court. I think it's all good, man, for sure.
Yeah, listen, that's part of being a fan. And I mean, maybe people still talked all the way for 30 years about Billy Buckner in New England, and 20 years, whatever it was. And that was just the way it was because you felt like that robbed you of a championship. And that was on the field, not necessarily with a bad call that the Jags can complain about. Now the Saints can complain about. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this Saints defense, man. Davenport and Jordan, they're really good on that front. They've got a few sacks each so far this year. This is a good defense. I'm not sure it's a great defense, but I think it's a good defense. And, well, quite frankly, the Jags aren't a great offense. But right now I think they're a good offense. And it's a nice matchup on paper going into Sunday.
It really is, and it's like we kind of talked about. It's all this talk about Drew Brees and Michael Thomas. I feel like even now that the Saints defense kind of goes unnoticed. I think Cam Jordan for a long time now has been one of the best defensive ends in football, and he plays at a very, very high level. He's a kind of like a throwback defensive end, as opposed to like an outside edge rusher like Von Miller or like a smaller guy like that relies on his speed like Yannick Ngakoue. Cam Jordan's more that throwback. He's more like the Julius Peppers big body type of guy who's not afraid to incorporate speed to power. So Cam Jordan's always a guy that you got to be aware of and everything like that. And obviously Marcus Davenport from the University of Texas San Antonio, I believe, the Roadrunners. I think that's what they're called.
I think you're right.
The only reason I know that is because my cousin was a pitcher there for college baseball. So
you should have quizzed me on that. I don't know if I would have got it.
I think they're the Roadrunners, if I'm not mistaken. I'd probably be a bad cousin if I didn't know that. But yeah, so Marcus Davenport is a guy, when he was taken in the draft, taken the first round, obviously, he was super raw, right? He was almost like Khalil Mack, he reminded me of, where he had all these physical tangibles. He had all these tools and everything, but you have to refine them, right? You have to get everything in line. And for the most part right now, they've done that. And then another guy, too, by the name of Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson has been playing at a very, very high level, especially in the pass game, where he's kind of like the primary edge rusher. And this is a guy that's like one of those nonstop motors. Kind of reminds me of like a Kyle Vandenbosch back in the day, he played for the Detroit Lions. Like the dude only knows one speed. So their defensive line for sure is stout. They're strong. They're good in pass rushing. They're good in stopping the run. And then their secondary. I think if a place that can get beat, I think it's their second corner, right? I just talked about Lattimore, how he's shutting Mike Evans down, how he usually shuts the one receiver down. And for those of you out there that don't think that a shutdown corner isn't important, that want to see Jalen Ramsey get traded, watch what the Saints have done this year with Lattimore at their disposal. But at the other side of the line, you got a guy.
Not only that, watch what they do with Michael Thomas when they're on offense.
That's a good point too. But on the other side, then you got a guy by the name of Eli Apple. And Eli Apple was a first-round pick taken by New York, gets traded, didn't perform well in New York, kind of had some discrepancies in that locker room. They got rid of him. He comes to New Orleans a year ago and, playing okay football. I think he's definitely exploitable. I think if you're looking at the weak link of that defense, I think you got to attack him. And that's the beauty with the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, Brent, what we've always been talking about, where they do have a lot of receivers that you can exploit corners with, where, let's say Lattimore maybe takes DJ Chark. Maybe DJ Chark's the game wrecker now. Well, all of a sudden you got D.D. Westbrook on Eli Apple. I like my chances there.
That's a great point, and I wonder how they play it. Will they go at – a lot of teams have been facing up to D.D. Westbrook and throwing him a little bit of love. Well, now all of a sudden DJ Chark, one of the top receivers in the game, if you look at the statistics, and he's really hot right now. He's catching everything. I would think they will shift the focus to DJ Chark. Now, you could mix it up a little bit because the Jags don't have that true number one. Well, we don't think. I mean, Chark might be that guy.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see how they play the Jaguars receivers. And if they choose to play Chark, I think that could, to your point, really open things up for a guy like D.D. Westbrook or even a Chris Conley.
Exactly. And then we also have to talk about, their linebackers. Their linebackers are decent. A.J. Klein, a guy that I know very well. We share the same agent. We actually share the same taste in music that we've talked about a couple of times. He's a pretty good strong side linebacker. You got Kiko Alonso, a guy who's been around for a while, played in Miami for a couple years. He's decent, So, and then you have obviously Demario Davis, Mississippi versus Mississippi as he's going against Gardner Minshew. So that'll be a cool matchup to watch. But it's like I said, I think they're the most exploitable in that back end at the safety position and that, that two corner spot.
Okay, let me flip this around though for you, okay? Because all of a sudden, we've talked about defenses for years and years in Jacksonville and said, oh, this could be a tough matchup.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That Carolina defense was good. They're number 1 in the league in passing. They're really good on the front. They're actually supposed to be pretty good on the secondary. And I thought Gardner Minshew and company went up and down the field on them. Sure, they had some fumbles, and that cost them the football game.
Mm-hmm.
But they did not have a problem getting up and down that football field against Carolina.
They did not.
Now I think the question needs to be asked, and I just asked it on social media, does it matter who they're playing on defense? Because are we getting excited enough about the Jags' offense, or are we still too concerned with the offensive line, and is this real, and all those things? Because you have DJ Chark playing out of his mind. Leonard Fournette's the leading rusher in the AFC. Gardner Minshew's done it 5 games in a row now, so that's real. Mm-hmm. That is a real thing. Even if he drops off a little bit, he's still playing good football. I don't know. Maybe we should be at the point where we say, you know what? Screw whoever's on defense. This is Jacksonville now, and Jacksonville's got an offense, and they can go up and down the field. And Jacksonville, I expect them to score 24, 27 points. I mean, is that the expectation? Is that a little too much, or are we not talking about it enough?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I understand, and we talked about Carolina having a good defense, and for the most part they did. I mean, where they're vulnerable, what we talked about was in their run game, and they seem vulnerable everywhere against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, yes, they did get home a couple of times, and, the offensive line has to improve on that. But if you're breaking down the Panthers, Brent, the Rams dropped 30 on them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropped 20 on them. The Texans dropped 16 on them. So they're a pretty, solid and stout defense. Now, would I consider the Carolina Panthers top 3, top 4, even top 5? Probably not. So to come out here and say, Jacksonville shouldn't have a problem with any kind of defense, I would pump the brakes a little bit because there still are the Chicago Bears out there. There still are the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills. Those are very, very stout defenses that are, balanced all around, whether it's in the pass game or the run game. So while I do think it's optimistic to say things like that, I still got to see the Jaguars face like a top 3 defense.
I'm the president and owner of the Sunshine and Rainbows Club, man. I say whatever the heck I want. I think this offense all of a sudden is just on the doorstep of being the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe the 2008 New England Patriots. I mean, you never know. It could be emerging. And I'm kidding about that, but I got to bring a little Sunshine and Rainbows here to Brandon, Mississippi. Spread the word.
Sunshine and Rainbows.
But here, I don't know if it's too far-fetched to wonder about that. Leonard Fournette put a ton of work in the offseason, and he's playing good football right now. I think the reason he didn't play good in a couple of games was clearly that offensive line, and I think people will now admit that. I also believe this wide receiving core is emerging. I mean, there's no doubt. Look around. And I still think they could get the ball to Chris Conley a little bit more, but it's emerging. The quarterback's playing with confidence. John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator, is calling a game with confidence and not a lot of concern. It goes back a little bit to the question I had last week, man, and unfortunately it got answered in the wrong way. Remember going into last week's game, one of the big things for me is I say, okay, I get Cam Robinson's working himself back. He might not be ready for this until the second half of the year, be full go, not give up a play, feel who he's supposed to be coming off the ACL. I think you're still working with Jawan Taylor. He's a young player, but by the way, he's been really good. And there's a lot of talk inside that building that he has been really, really good. And think about the guys he's gone against, J.J. Watt, Frank Clark. Now he might get a Jordan this week. He's been outstanding. Von Miller, by the way, I forgot to mention him.
Yep.
So my question last week, Austin, was, okay, Linder and Norwell, you did it well in Denver. Could you do it again? And I think Linder did okay, but Norwell did not answer that bell. Mm-hmm. So, therefore, I'm still scratching my head and saying, okay, what is this offensive line, especially on the left side of it, Austin?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You got to remember, like, when you critique offensive linemen of how well they played, for instance, maybe against the Denver Broncos compared to the Carolina Panthers, especially in terms of pass setting, when you're getting ready to take on a pass rush, well, every pass rusher is different, right? Like, maybe Andrew Norwell specializes in like a speed rush as opposed to like the power, like we saw him get, bowled back 15 yards, it seemed like. So I understand what you're saying where, every defense is different. And yeah, they played good against Denver. What happened against Carolina? Well, we saw at Carolina, they exploited what Norwell's, not the best at right now, and that's stopping the bull rush. And when you got a team like the New Orleans Saints coming in with Cam Jordan, who specializes in that, curious to see if they actually pick on him a little bit as well.
I do expect the Jaguars to score 24 points at least in this football game. I'm not afraid to say that. I expect that to happen on Sunday. Now, can the defense shut the door and getting to get the win? Those are questions that will have to be answered, at least in my mind. When we come back on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, we'll have our Baker Sports Coach of the Week from the high school ranks, little Ballin and Fallin as well, right after this on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, a pretty warm day again today with a few brief showers, highs in the low to mid 80s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
It's Dollar Down Days at Planet Fitness. Join through October 11th for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. So check every couch, cup holder, and coin purse and find $1 before Dollar Down Days are done. Join for $1 down in club or at planetfitness.com. See club for details.
We're local, you're local, shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Time to register for the 16th annual USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K, one of the premier running events in the Southeast. It all happens Saturday, October 12th, starting at Metro Park. It's a family-friendly event featuring high-tech military vehicles and prizes. Proceeds benefit the Jacksonville USO and other military charities. The USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K, happening October 12th. Don't wait. Register today online at jacksusohalfmarathon.com.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour is well underway at Best Bet Jacksonville. Lock up your seat in the $5,000 buy-in Best Bet Bounty Scramble for just $120. You'll find satellites going on now and every day throughout the entire series. Get ready to take your shot at $1 million prize pool and the WPT main event. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
You know you'd like to add an $80 gift card to your wallet. Well, that's exactly what you can get this October at any of Tire Outlet's 9 locations. We're here to tell you about the Yokohama Fall Rebate at TireOutlet.com. You'll receive up to $80 on a Visa prepaid card or Visa virtual account with your purchase of 4 select Yokohama tires. The Yokohama Fall Rebate offer, only this month. See more rebates and info at TireOutlet.com. Wholesale prices, premium service.
Gulick and Wingo.
I don't know if I've ever felt worse for a kid in the league than Josh Rosen, It's like deja vu for him. He's going through this all again. We may never know what Josh Rosen could or could not have been because of the 2 situations he's found himself.
Gulick and Wingo. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Hey everyone, Jawan Taylor here, University of Florida, and you're watching Action Sports Jacks. Go Gators.
Oh, man, we had so much fun this morning at the elementary school, Stonebridge Elementary School, I think it was called. Stonebridge Elementary School. As Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber joins me as well from Brandon, Mississippi. And, man, they were awesome. The kids were so good. It was a well-behaved class, first of all. And they had so much fun. They knew they just kind of did their thing. And they actually had, Austin, they had goals. I don't know if you saw some of Twitter, but they had, like, Gardner Minshew goals. Okay. And the reason how this all came about is someone came back and told a story that Gardner Minshew, when he heard somebody came in and told him about like the ACTs and that he would need like an 18 or something to get into college and play sports. This was back when he was like in elementary school.
Okay.
Apparently, the story is that he kind of put that down as a goal that he wanted to get an 8. He came home, said, I want to get an 18 on my ACTs.
This is in second grade.
Second grade.
Yeah.
And so because of that, they heard the story, he shared the story, and now all the kids did goals as well, Gardner Minshew goals, and they were great. I mean, one of them was like, I want him to get good grades and be on time.
Yeah.
You know, one, I want to be better at baseball and football than Bo Jackson.
Okay.
Hey.
And the greatest one of all time, I'll let Weber do it because he still loves it. It's fantastic. Go ahead.
So young Ethan, who came up with a great goal, said, I want to play football or be in the Army or play basketball or be able to body slam my brother. That was his goal that he had written on the board.
So we were on all counts.
And so we were having all the kids come up and say their goals on camera. And then we said, Ethan, we want you to come up. He's like, no, I'm not coming up there. he knew he could write that down, but if he said that out loud, he'd get in trouble.
That's awesome.
It was like there was a savvy about the second grader that was like, yeah, you might be able to read that, but it's not true until I say it. And he did not want to say it. It was pretty funny. So anyway, they were awesome, man. It's a really fun trip. They were maybe my favorite part was the kids of the last couple of days here in Brandon, Mississippi. Brent Martineau, Action Sports Jack, Stuart Weber, Austin Lane back there, Kuz back there, John Bachman back there as well. CBS 47, Fox 30 coming up at 5 o'clock. How you doing, Johnny Bachman?
Hey, I'm doing great. I noticed you worked in one of your own goals, which was to be on time, by the way.
We have
which,
been
by
on
the
time.
way, have you achieved it ever? I
Yep.
mean, you've never missed a TV or a radio program, but outside of that, in real life,
I'm getting
you
better
miss
at
tea
it.
times like they're going out of style.
I know it's a tough label to shed,
Yeah.
but I am getting better at it. And the
Especially
funny
if you
thing
don't
is,
try to shed it.
So yeah, so
Exactly, Stuart.
it's like I'm trying to diet too.
Exactly.
Diet
right.
and on time. It's not
Yeah,
working well.
I'm getting in shape, too.
But the funniest thing is so we're shooting that part, and Stuart's kind of watching, getting video of the kids, and they're going up to the board and reading their index cards of what it is, and I'm kind of right next to them. And the little girl said, I want to get good grades, and I want to be on time. And all of a sudden, I can feel the camera just go vroom, right to me.
So Stuart was on top of that one, huh?
I was waiting to see what Brent's reaction would be, because, of course.
Did it register, Stuart, or was it just blank stare? Like,
Oh,
I
no,
don't know
it
what he's talking
registered.
about.
I was like,
Okay.
I'm working on that, too. That's a good goal to have.
Outstanding. Well, hey, I loved your tweets. It was great fun to follow along with the visit both yesterday and today. So good stuff. Coming up on Action News Jax at 5, we've got a couple of it's been a crazy day. And last night, you may have heard the 2 firefighters who were working on duty and got stabbed. Well, one of them was in really bad shape, and a security guard with UF Health jumped into action. She is credited with saving one, if not both, of those firefighters' lives. Wow. And so she spoke to us today. She spoke out and basically gave her version of events, and she's retired military, and she just said she just jumped into action. So really cool stuff there. And another great story I'm a little partial to was...
tell us about Wyatt, man.
Yeah, buddy, this is cool stuff right here. So a year ago, I was with the J Fund in Wolfson Hospital, and Wolfson Children's Hospital, and walked into this room, and here was Wyatt. He'd undergone chemotherapy. He just had surgery to remove the tumor from his leg, and he was not doing real well. I was actually surprised that he even wanted us in there. I mean, he was in pain. He was crying. I felt so bad for this guy, and we just started talking, and he grabs my hand, and I heard you like fishing. We started talking about fishing, and fast forward to a couple weeks ago, and they said, hey, he is doing great and wants to go fishing. I said, let's do it.
That's awesome.
And so today we went fishing. He is doing fantastic. He is cancer-free. Awesome. And if you want a great feeling today, you're going to have to watch this story tonight at 5:30 on CBS 47, because let me tell you something. This guy is just a great kid, and what he's been through, and he's a normal, curious 10-year-old kid now. I mean, he's, but you'll see his battle scars. You'll hear some fish stories. We may have caught a fish. I'm not going to tell you exactly all the story, but we may have caught a fish. Probably won't set any records with said fish, but we did catch one, and maybe more than one. I don't know. You'll just have to watch. But it was great stuff, and I just love this kid.
That's awesome, man. I just ate a redfish, by the way.
Hey, we were trying to catch one for dinner, but we didn't get that. Redfish is the best. Down there,
redfish, is good. It's good, really good.
That was a Mississippi redfish.
That is a Mississippi redfish. And by the way, just to follow up on that, and hope you check out the story today, 5 o'clock on CBS 47 and Fox 30. John Bachman, Tanika Hughes, Mike Borish, and we'll have a report from here on the sports side a little later on 6:50 on Fox 30. But it's a cool thing. It's a fun business to be in a lot of different ways, but those are the stories when we're sitting on the porch probably at 65, 70 years old or whenever the hell they let us retire. That will they'll probably kick us out before we're that age.
Amen.
But those are the stories you kind of remember. So that's really cool that you got a chance to go fishing with him and that relationship there. That's Austin shares the same things. Some of the places he was able to go as a football player and some of the kids that he still knows and keeps in touch with and remembers. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yep, that's where it's all at. That is the reason we do some of what we do. So,
All right, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. John Bachman, Tanika Hughes, Mike Borish, and we'll jump in there as well. CBS 47 and Fox 30. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Hey, it's time to jump in on our Baker Sports Coach of the Week.
Yeah.
Part of the reason we bring in Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber here. And how about we go to Orange Park?
I like it.
For Baker Sports Coach of the Week. This guy's been around the block here in town. Really good coach. And he's getting it done at OP.
Yeah, Coach Tom McPherson having another solid year. Last year, I believe they went 6-4, had a nice, good year, solid year. And this year, they're doing great again. Coming off a victory over Bishop Kenny in overtime, 42-35, getting the job done. They're 2-0 in district play. No district play this week. They take on Baker County, which actually was one of those coaching stops for Coach McPherson. So I'm sure there's
maybe a little chip on his shoulder about that one.
A little added intrigue, we'll say. So they've got that, and then a couple more district games. They're in a district with Menendez and Gainesville East Side.
Okay.
So I believe those are the two games they still have to come. They beat Clay and Ridgeview, so the big ones are still to come. Gainesville East Side, of course, is the one with Ant Richardson, the Gainesville, the UF quarterback commit. And then Menendez has been really good, the Falcons. So we give him the props now, and hopefully that pushes him forward because they got some big games coming up. The Raiders. I put on an orange and black shirt just for them.
Oh, they're very nice of you, Baker, or the Gators. Baker Sports Coach of the Week. We do it usually Tuesday. We shifted a little bit today because we had all Minshew Mania
on the
yesterday.
Nose being at a high school field.
Yeah, maybe too much so. But we'll talk more about the high school game coming up on Friday, our Action Sports Jacks Game of the Week. We've shuffled things around a little bit as we get later in the year. We did say at the beginning, subject to change. We're trying to find some of the big matchups as we get late in the season. Still trying to hit some of the schools that we wanted to hit. And we're going to get Columbia at Lee. We're going to the backyard Friday night at 6 o'clock. That could be a good one. In fact, it could wrap up everything for Columbia if they get it done. And right now, they might be the best team in our area, even with Trinity Christian's tough schedule and how good they can be.
They might be the best team in the state.
They beat Trinity Christian. No, they're a top 5 team in the state right now,
Top 5 team in the state, absolutely. And it's funny how things work out. We ended up losing a league game that was originally on the schedule because it got moved to a Thursday. And so now we get one back. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
And don't worry, Clay County, we're coming to you guys soon. We're going to bounce around, hit all the counties, and yeah, I like the way the schedule shapes up the next few weeks on our ESPN 690 High School Game of the Week. It's going to be a lot of fun to get out to the backyard.
Yeah, hopefully we get another big game. That was an awesome game we had Friday night.
We should get overtime every time.
Yeah, that was really fun. Stuart Weber does a great job with our high school stuff and everything else. We'll be back with a little Ballin and Fallin and back to some Jags talk right after this on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. Jalen Ramsey was back at practice today after missing the past 2 games with back problems. He saw a specialist in Houston, and now he's taking things slow. That's according to head coach Doug Marrone.
I think we're just going to take it step by step. I think this way, go out there and, we'll stretch in here and see how that goes. If that goes well, then we'll go outside and, we'll warm up, we'll stretch, and if that goes well, we'll go to the next. So I think we'll just take it, just step by step.
Baseball news. All 4 teams in the NLDS play tonight with St. Louis and Atlanta in the early game and Washington and LA playing later. And in the ALDS, the Tampa Bay Rays were able to pull even with Houston, tying the series at 2 games apiece. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. Best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service. TireOutlet.com always has a safety first focus. Locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website VitaDeLouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to VitaDeLouis.com.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Natural disasters can be unexpected and devastating to your home or property. If your home or property is damaged and needs repairs, it's important to use only Florida licensed contractors. Remember to check their references, get everything in writing, and don't pay up front. To verify your contractors are licensed, contact the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation online at myfloridalicense.com. That's myfloridalicense.com.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota CHR, it's not $22,660. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota CHR at Arlington Toyota. How about a Toyota Tacoma? It's not $29,635. No way. It's just $23,888. $23,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Tacoma at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
How have binoculars and just the general discomfort that comes with using binoculars, how have we not improved that?
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I think both, just confirmed, what our doctors have said. And, today we expect them, to be outside and, we're going to try to do a little bit more and just keep testing it and pushing it. He's working, extremely hard to get back. Everyone's doing everything they can. So, you guys will see him out there today and we'll just take it day by day.
Well, that's Doug Marrone earlier today talking about Jalen Ramsey, who did practice on a limited basis for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, a big story for the Jags to get Ramsey back. What it means in the pantheon of everything else that's happened, who knows? Where this thing will end up. I almost now look forward to Thursdays as much as Wednesdays as we welcome you back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau here in Brandon, Mississippi, Gardner Minshew's hometown. We'll leave later tonight and be back in studio tomorrow. Austin Lane back in the studio, of course. And Austin, the reason being is I'm wondering if Ramsey will give us some insight on the next thing when he talks to Nate Burleson on the podcast. I mean, I almost look forward to that day as much as I look forward to seeing if Ramsey's going to practice or not on a Wednesday.
No, I mean, listen, he's always at least for like one soundbite you get from that podcast. So, yeah, I think we're all waiting like it's like an episode of Lost or an episode of like Dancing with the Stars, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not.
So I think way too early to tell, right, is to get a gut on whether he'll play. But being on the field, I think, is such a big step. I mean, this is different than Josh Oliver. Oliver's been on the field, practicing on a limited basis, hasn't gone yet in a game. I mean, we think if Jalen Ramsey's thinking about going on Sunday and giving it a go against the Saints, he's probably trying to get back on the practice field. If he doesn't think he's going to be back on Sunday, I'm not sure he's even practicing in a limited basis today.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that's what it comes down to. It's like I talked about in the beginning of the show. I mean, if Jalen Ramsey truly wants to make a business decision and wants to get traded and play on another team, he would just come out and say that. He would say he's not going to practice, he's not going to play, and he'd kind of put the Jaguars all in, basically, right? He'd kind of hold them hostage. That's not the case. This is a guy who said in his press conference that he wants to be there for his teammates, doesn't want to be a distraction, and wants to be the ultimate team guy. So with all those things considered, and I get it, those are just words, those aren't actions, right? But taking the guy at his word and the actions that he's showing right now, where he's practicing today with a bad back or at least a back that's been bothering him, it's positive news, at least for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, going forward.
Yeah, I think so too. And I guess the last part of it is, from whatever side you sit, I think we're just calling a spade here, and that is, I think if he wants out, I think sooner or later you better get healthy so teams by October 29th will want to come get you,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really hard to trade for a guy if he hadn't played in football games. Well, so you lose a little value there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Because keep in mind, I mean, back issues can linger. And then the last thing a team wants to do is, spend 2 first-round draft picks on a guy who's damaged goods. And especially, obviously, the more that they wait, the less that he can play for their team, because any team that brings him on is probably hoping to sign him to a new contract eventually, right? Like, you're not just going to bring him on for a year, 2 years, and then say, we'll see you later. I mean, any team that's looking to bring Jalen Ramsey on is probably in it for the long haul. So you want to try to maximize your profit as much as possible. And then the longer a team waits, the less games Jalen Ramsey's going to play. So in my opinion, it's not gamesmanship. It's an actual injury. And we'll see where he goes going forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the countdown is getting on now. Now we got about 3 weeks to go until the trade deadline. That's the next significant thing. And I continue to say, and I said earlier in the week, and I believe it's the case, the Jags right now are winning this thing. And I think they're going to keep him. I really do. I don't think he's going to be traded by October 29th. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days, and if he plays on Sunday. Time to get some Ballin and Fallin, man. What you got for us?
So Ballin, this might be, I don't know. We have the Super Bowl in Philly. We have Rocky beating the Russian. But this may be the greatest moment, Brent, in Philadelphia sports history. Last night, Ben Simmons, point guard for the 76ers, hit his first three-pointer in a preseason game of his career. Yeah, that's right. He's an NBA player, has never hit a three-pointer before. Ben Simmons is balling. First three-pointer. Congratulations to Ben Simmons.
How much did Kuz
TJ
pay
McConnell,
you?
who? No, this is on me, Brent. This is big news. This is all over Twitter right now. He was trending last night. Ben Simmons hitting a three-pointer. And Kuz, this is my question to you. The guy's a good basketball player. I'll give him that. He's a great driver. But how do you go so long in your career and not be able to at least be decent at hitting three balls?
He just never took him, which was the crazy part. Something I was going to add to your Ballin, though, is his Vegas odds for MVP after he hit that jumped so much. It was crazy how much higher his MVP percentages changed last night.
Listen, I don't know who his high school basketball coach is. I don't know who his youth basketball coach is. Not sure who his AAU basketball coach is, but they all deserve to be fired. Because the fact that guy hasn't hit a three-pointer yet in his NBA career until now is absolutely ludicrous.
It is a little crazy that I hadn't been able to do this. By the way, I think we should play the breaking news alert every time he hits one or something.
Now
like
we're talking.
We got to find something.
Well, here's the thing. So, I think last season we had the TJ McConnell box score breakdown. Well, he's not in Philly anymore. So now we can incorporate the Ben Simmons 3-point breakdown or something like that.
That's a good call. That's
Let's
what we're
do
going to
that.
have to do.
Yep,
All right, hey,
on it.
here's my ball, and enough said. Let this kid do the talking.
I see Tristan. I see all these little guys. I see all these big guys just rising up and doing everything they got. Let me tell you, when I saw Cole get angry, I want to see all of you do that. Because if you do that, you're determined to the game. I'm not saying be one person, be you, but also have passion. Let's show the Cisco Lobos how to be a Maverick. Let's show them. Let's show that we can beat them on their home field, on our home field. We can beat them anywhere. We can go to New England, for goodness sake, play in the snow, and still beat them.
That is the greatest thing ever, man. I mean, sorry, Muhammad Ali or Newt Rockney or whoever else you want, but this little dude from Texas playing a little popular football might be the greatest speech to a team ever delivered. Sorry, the promised Tim Tebow. Well, I know I'm in Mississippi, but forget about it. This kid's got it.
So here's my issue with the whole speech. Yeah, it's great and everything like that, but it's plagiarized because I gave this exact same speech in 2007 when Murray State took on Louisville and we were in enemy territory playing number 10 Louisville, and I gave that exact same speech. Now, yeah, we ended up getting beat 73-10, and it is what it is, but you better believe I was passionate, ready to shock the world, Brent.
But the big thing is, did you say determined?
Oh yeah, probably because I was so nervous. Absolutely, I probably said a lot more. I probably said a lot worse than that, Brent.
That kid is awesome.
No, that was
find
awesome,
that
though.
video. I saw it on Barstool Sports. They retweeted it, but it's a kid out of Texas, and it's great stuff. And it shows you so much how impressionable the young kids are, right?
Yeah, yep.
And that's why there is like. I don't want to put too much on the athlete, but there is like this sense of responsibility. They listen, they hear, they watch, they all these things, and they don't. Not to say they don't care what mom and dad have to say, but they're not necessarily doing what mom and dad have to say all the time. They're doing what that TV says, and what people are watching. That was incredible. That was so much fun. The beauty about today is with the video and the audio and the ability to tape and record everything, and sometimes it's a bad thing. But in moments like this, man, they'll show that at that kid's wedding. They'll show that, like, someday someone will dig that thing up and say, were you the kid that did this?
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Like, if that kid becomes famous somehow, we'll have that to go back on, you know? And it was really fun stuff. All right, what about Fallin?
Brent, little trivia question for you real quick. A few weeks ago, you announced that J-Lo and Shakira were going to be headlining the Super Bowl. Big news, obviously. Huge news.
They called me and told me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Brent, I gave one more name that I'd like to see in the Super Bowl. Do you remember who that name was?
Oh, yeah, you said
I said
it wasn't
somebody.
Pitbull.
No, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't Pitbull.
That's just for divorced dads and minivans.
Nailed it.
Gosh, you did tell me. Oh, did you say? No, you didn't say Gloria Stefan, did you?
Brent, Gloria Stefan. Dude, I'm 31 years old. No, I didn't say Gloria Stefan.
Oh, we were just referencing her.
Oh,
I'm trying to
okay,
think
I
of the
got
names. We referenced Gloria Stefan in that.
Okay. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
during that segment.
Okay.
I forget.
Okay, it was Rihanna, obviously.
Oh, Rihanna.
And, and Rihanna, because I said, if you could put Rihanna in the mix, I mean, it's kind of like the Holy Trinity, right? I mean, it's the big three. But so unfortunately, Rihanna,
she's holding out.
Well, they asked her to do it. Yes. So they asked her to join with J-Lo and Shakira, and just kind of have the whole female takeover. And unfortunately, Rihanna's not going to do it because, she's signed with Colin Kaepernick and feels that if she was able to perform in the Super Bowl, that would make that whole situation look bad. So, hey, I mean, props to her for standing up for what she believes in. I'm not going to knock her for that. But unfortunately, the Holy Trinity will not be, it's not going to be complete now. So it's kind of a bummer. Yeah.
What's interesting is I wonder how these stances will be done considering the whole Jay-Z thing.
Yeah.
And so that's one example of it. All right, my Fallin, and I might get into it a little bit more on the back end because we're about to go to a break, did you see the Travis Kelce bumping Eric Bieniemy?
No, I haven't seen this.
Or heard about it at the very least, but he apologized for it, said we're all good. And it just took me back to the Jalen Ramsey front.
Yeah.
From obviously a few weeks ago with Doug Marrone. So that's the Fallin and Kelce. I could have done Fallin with Richard Sherman. How about the whole thing with him and Baker Mayfield?
Oh, man, what a mess that is.
And apparently, what did he do? Just make it up?
Exactly. That's exactly what he did.
Dude.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You mad, bro?
Richard Sherman has said it on a podcast that he's going to apologize in person, I guess, to Baker Mayfield.
Well, that's
As he should.
He owes him one.
Yeah.
He owes him one. And Travis Kelce owed his coaching apology.
Yeah, he did.
Jalen Ramsey, did he ever apologize? At least he didn't publicly. Let's talk about it next on ESPN 690.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Is Max Muncy a great name for a power hitter? 80% of the audience said yes. It's hard to get better than that, right? Max Muncy?
Well, let's see. Can we do better than that? Can anyone do better than Max Muncy?
Home Run Smith.
That's a great one, Chris. You did great work there. Home Run Smith.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Homegrown and ready to help the home team look good on Friday nights and every night in any sport, Baker Sports has been doing just that since 1997. Your team experts offer the top brands like Under Armour and Adidas. Screen print, embroidery, and trophies all done in-house right here in Jacksonville. Baker Sports will get you ready for your big game. Looking good so you can play good. Play ball with your team experts at Baker Sports.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany.
Here.
Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
Time to register for the 16th Annual USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K, one of the premier running events in the Southeast. The mission of the USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K is to strengthen the bond between the civilian and military communities, promote sound physical health and fitness, and to raise funds for the greater Jacksonville area USO in support of all 5 branches of the military, including the Florida National Guard and their family members. It all happens on Saturday, October 12th, starting at Metropolitan Park. This is a family-friendly event featuring high-tech military vehicles and prizes. Proceeds benefit the Jacksonville USO and other military charities. The USO Armed Forces Half Marathon and Freedom 5K happens on October 12th, so don't wait. Register today online at jaxusohalfmarathon.com.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
Golick and Wingo.
I think my jersey was one of the top-selling jerseys around the world, and I didn't make $1 from it, but nor did I want to.
I respect Tim Tebow. I respect his opinion. I love his passion. I just could not disagree with it more.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Hi, I'm Danny Warfel, 1996 Heisman winner, and you're watching Action Sports Jax.
Gloria Estefan's awesome, man.
Dude, there's no way we mentioned her for the Super Bowl halftime performance.
No, I think it was in the conversation, though. I think we were talking about, like, I think we're talking about Latino performers.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Because it was in Miami.
I guess.
And
okay.
maybe we might have mentioned like one of the last times it was in Miami, or maybe a couple times ago, like she had performed. I don't know. I was just throwing names out that I remember from our conversation.
Well, I'm just a little insulted because I don't think I was born when this album came out, and I'm not the biggest fan of Sex and the City and the whole soundtrack behind it. So I feel like I would never know who Gloria Estefan is.
Yeah, well, you should.
I guess so.
I liked her. She was good.
She's not bad.
You would rather see her than Pitbull.
Yeah, absolutely. I will give you that much for sure.
All right, hey, let's finish off Fallin. Travis Kelce apologizes for making contact with Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator. He actually shoved him on the sideline
Just saw the
against
video,
the Indianapolis Colts. And I guess it brings up an interesting situation because, and I really don't want to rehash everything from a few weeks back, but I just think this is an instance. And I remember when you were talking about it, and you brought up like Tom Brady and McDaniels, right? That shouting match that they had. And it got me thinking, I'm like, all right, well, there's an example of it. And what we said at the time, or at least I said at the time, it's totally different when it's your head coach. The head coach, I mean, no disrespect to any other coach on the sideline staff, but it's different when you're arguing or you shove or you make contact with an assistant coach, I think, than it is your head coach. And this is a situation where Kelce, who's been in the league for a long time, has got obviously a very good resume, ton of star power, no different than a Brady and even a Ramsey to that degree. And he shoved Bieniemy, asked about it, and he said he apologized. It is one thing, and I think it might be fair to be critical of Jalen Ramsey on this front. And with all the other stuff, that kind of got passed over because I remember asking him in the news conference on that Tuesday a couple of days later that, were you surprised you weren't disciplined at all for making contact with Doug Marrone? And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? Like, why would I have been disciplined? Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And the difference there is Marrone came back. And I've been critical of Marrone coming back on the sideline with all the cameras watching, yelling at him. And I get it, but you shouldn't do it, not in that setting, and then not disciplining him. I've been critical of Marrone for that part too. But I guess it just comes down to me. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm seeing a guy apologize for it. I don't remember if Brady ever apologized for his actions on the sideline. But, again, Jalen Ramsey made contact, man, with this head coach in some way, shape, or form. Should there have been an apology or an acknowledgement of it at the very least with all this other stuff going on?
Yeah, that's up for debate. Who's to say they didn't, behind closed doors?
And they
Jalen
probably
Ramsey,
did.
Yeah.
In fairness to them, they probably did.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. My question, though, is, and listen, maybe it's just because, we're in the bubble here in Jacksonville, but – like, why? I mean, at least to me personally, I didn't really know anything about this video until you told me about it. Yeah, so this is my point then. Like, why is it that – because Travis Kelce in his own right, Brent, is one of the best tight ends. He probably is the best tight end in football right now. He's one of the top players in the NFL. So why is it that when he blatantly pushes his coach on the sidelines, that's not like the first story that we talk about? I'm not saying we in general, but I'm saying like on ESPN or like, it's not like leading the way on Sports Illustrated. Like, why isn't that story getting shared? But the blow up on the sidelines against Houston, that was everywhere, it seems like.
Well, you know how I feel about I'll go back to say what I said, and it's twofold in my opinion. One, Ramsey became a headline story because he asked for a trade that very night.
Okay.
So everything for the first 48 hours was, wow, he asked for a trade because he had a run-in on the sideline with his coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember, the perception of that was all Doug Marrone versus Ramsey in the first 48, 72 hours after the fact. And again, the reason why that became more of a headline, because there was a part two to that. And I'll say it again. I think that part was on Doug Marrone. I don't think Doug Marrone should have gone back over to Ramsey. And then there was that outburst, remember, where Hayden and everybody else told him to get away.
No, I remember that, yeah.
And so if that part never happens, because that's the part that's shown on TV and all the replays more often than even the initial nudge of Ramsey coming off the sideline, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal maybe across the country. But you combine the fact that Marrone went back over there, then there was a little bit more of an outburst because the players got up and said, get away, coach. And then at night, a few hours later, he asked for a trade. You combine all those things, I think that's why it became a big story across the country.
I got you. Yeah, and that makes sense. But at the same time, too, it's like I said, and I follow the game pretty closely, and this is really the first time I'm hearing about it. And, like, Travis Kelce, I mean, the guy's in McDonald's commercials. The guy's kind of a household name. And then the fact that, he literally pushed his coach, and we're not talking about it, that's just crazy to me, But nevertheless, and you could kind of make the point, well, is it the head coach or offensive coordinator? And here's that whole thing. Like, I understand, Brent, where you're coming from, where, you can never do that to a head coach, right? Like Tom Brady did to offensive coordinator, McDaniels, Travis Kelce, offensive coordinator. And I get where you're coming from. Where you listen, the head coach is, he's the upper echelon, right? He's the manager. He's the hierarchy. He's the guy that runs the show, and I understand that. But at the same time, it's almost, I don't know how I should put this. It's almost, I don't want to say it's a red flag, but you can put it in the way where, yeah, the head coach is the top guy, but at the same time, the offensive coordinator, whether it's in Kansas City, whether it's in New England, like they interact with those players a lot more than the head coach does, right? Like Travis Kelce has to go to meetings every single day with his offensive coordinator. Like he sees him every single day. So from that perspective, you can almost say, well, is it worse because they have to interact with each other every single day? Now, like a head coach, yeah, the head coach is around the locker room and stuff, and you may see him, but the head coach isn't in every single meeting. The head coach necessarily doesn't really talk to you every single day. So, for the perspective of Travis Kelce and Bieniemy, I mean, sometimes I think you'd almost say it could be worse than the head coach just because they have such a rapport already. I mean, they see each other every single day.
Well, I think from a perception standpoint, it is the fact that it's the head coach. I get what you're saying. I think internally, you might wonder if it's the offense coordinator and a player, like, oh, how's this relationship? They do have meetings. They have to talk to each other, interact a bunch.
Yeah.
From that interaction standpoint, I still wonder, why does Jalen and Tom Coughlin and this beef have to be such a big thing? It's not like they interact all the time in the building. You know what I mean? So why is that part? I mean, okay, maybe he said something shouldn't have said, blah, blah, blah. But she's not like 4 hours out of the day, Jalen Ramsey and Tom Coughlin are in the same room. It doesn't happen. So I get it from your perspective there. I understand. I'm just talking perception-wise. I think it carries a lot more weight when it's the head coach. And, to that, this is going to be a bad example probably. And I don't really have I don't know for a fact, but my guess is if there's a little bit, say a kid in high school or something, shoves a teacher or puts her hand on a teacher, my guess is they get suspended for that, right? The detentions and suspension. If they do that to a principal of a school, my guess is they get expelled. I'm just saying I think there is a difference sometimes in title. That doesn't necessarily make it right. It doesn't make the push better. It doesn't make necessarily the argument better on the sideline in this instance. But I think there is just kind of this pecking order of who you're doing this with and who you're arguing with. And we just haven't seen the example of that very often in sports that I can remember where it's the head coach and the player. And that's what happened with Jalen Ramsey and Doug Marrone to a degree. The other part of it is, and to be fair on all this, I don't ever remember Tom Brady apologizing to Josh McDaniels, and that was almost laughed off, to your point.
No, absolutely. Exactly.
And he might have. He might have. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, and, going back to that situation a few weeks back in Houston, obviously it wasn't a good look for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I think the biggest black eye that came from it, and everything seems to be good now on the home front and everything, but it was when, they didn't communicate after. There was a couple days where they're doing press conferences and they're like, yeah, we haven't talked about it yet. Like, I feel like, and listen, does that fall more on the player or does it fall more on the manager? Does it fall more on the coach? I mean, I think it's the coach, right? But regardless of who it falls on, communication is key. And it doesn't matter if it's on a football field, it doesn't matter if it's in an office. You got to have that communication. So, that was the biggest takeaway I took from it, was the fact that they had this big incident on the sidelines, and for the next couple of days, nobody was talking.
Hey,
just weird.
Biggest thing is, listen, I say in our business world, we're all adults. You don't have to yell at me.
Yeah.
We're all adults. Tell me what I did wrong. That's fine. You're my boss. But it doesn't need to be this shouting match and I'm like your kid. I think we got to stop this stuff on the sideline, too. I mean, you can yell at each other because it's a heated moment, but let's leave our hands off each other on sidelines in football or any sport. I think it's a dangerous precedent to set. We've seen it a couple times now in the NFL in the first month of the year. Hey, when we come back, more from Brandon, Mississippi. I almost called it like Brantford and all these other places. It's Brandon, Mississippi. One more hour of the show, and then we'll start heading home. More football talk. Let's talk about this Saints game a little bit more on the way. Plus, it'll stay in your lane on ESPN 690.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Supra Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Camry, it's not $25,555. Now it's only $17,288. That's $17,288 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington Toyota.
How about a 2019 Toyota Corolla? Not $20,485. No, it's $13,888. Yeah, $13,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
2 Game 5s in the National League Division Series today on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Atlanta has lost 9 straight postseason series. Then tonight, it's the Dodgers versus the Nationals. All the pressure's on an LA team trying to reach the NLCS a 4th consecutive year. Notes ESPN's Tim Kirkjian.
This was the year they were going to make up for losing in the World Series the last 2 years. This is the best Dodger team that we have seen in a long time, and they were supposed to make it to the World Series again, almost for certain, and now they have a real fight tonight.
Our Tim Kirkjian, Walker Buehler, and Steven Strasburg on the hill. Clayton Kershaw, who threw 6 innings in Game 2, expected to follow Buehler out of the bullpen. He could pitch multiple innings. Our coverage at that, 8 Eastern. NFL Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes said he's feeling pretty good today, and his ankle injury will not limit his mobility Sunday against the Texans. Mahomes originally suffered the ankle injury Week 1 and aggravated it Sunday night against the Colts.
Coming up on Thursday, looking ahead to the NLCS and another Game 5 and the latest from the Major League Baseball postseason. Plus, it's the undefeated Pats against what's left of the Giants. Thoughts and prayers, Daniel Jones. Plus, we book it. Golic and Wingo, Thursday, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN 2.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, in this segment, we're going to have just about every time zone covered on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Austin Lane and sunny Florida. I think it's sunny out today. Probably hot.
No, it's not.
We'll
it's
raining
cloudy.
again?
It's going to rain. Yeah, it's going to rain.
What the heck's going on over there?
It's Florida, man.
Well,
it's all good.
You're in the Eastern time zone.
That we are.
Brent Martineau here in Brandon, Mississippi, Central time zone. And it's a beautiful day here in Brandon, Mississippi. Has been the last couple of days. Gardner Minshew's hometown as we're hanging out once again on a Wednesday on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. And then we welcome in from the Mountain time zone, a place where the Jaguars got a win for the first time since 2008. The Denver Post's Ryan O'Halloran. So we need someone from the West Coast right now, and I think we'd have everything covered. But how you doing out there, Ryan?
Good, guys. It may be starting to rain in Jacksonville, but tomorrow here it's supposed to be a high of 28 and 5 inches of snow.
No way. Is that real?
That.
Yeah, and then it'll be 70 on Saturday and 65 for the game on Sunday.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that is crazy.
Mother Nature, jeez.
That is so crazy, man. You probably aren't used to that yet, but that's pretty typical, isn't it, out there?
Yeah, it is. And you got a little bit last year because on May 21st they had to cancel an OTA because it snowed.
Man.
So, but it was 70 degrees the next day. So that's what I was told to expect, and so I haven't been surprised.
That's awesome. Well, drive safe tomorrow. And things, obviously, they're so used to it. It's not like things shut down, right?
No. But there's bad drivers everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. And there's a lot of drivers there in that area. All right, Ryan O. with us from the Denver Post, covers the Denver Broncos. You got off the schneid out there. They must be feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think they should. I mean, the Chargers didn't play great. Phillip Rivers threw a terrible red zone interception. Melvin Gordon looked like a guy who held out for a month and a half. And they were able to jump out to a 17-0 lead and then hang on. But two flawed teams. And, now they get Tennessee, another flawed team here on Sunday.
Ryan, we're talking about – I ended up watching that game a lot because I had Austin Eckler in my fantasy team, so I checked that game out a little bit. And when you compare Austin Eckler to Melvin Gordon, listen, I understand. Melvin Gordon, he's the household name. You know, he's the bell cow, quote unquote. But Austin Eckler was playing at a very, very top level when Melvin Gordon was out. Like, did you find it kind of odd that the fact that they tried to give Melvin Gordon the ball so much, even though he kind of looked a little slow, kind of looked like he had some rust on him? I did, and the Broncos made some changes up front because they were embarrassed by the Jaguars in the run game 2 weeks ago. So they played better up front. But every time Eckler got the ball, you expected something good to happen. He had 15 catches for a running back. Crazy. So I wonder if Anthony Lynn goes back to the drawing board a little bit and says, hey, if teams take away Keenan Allen, Eckler may be your best player on offense, trying to get him the ball more often. He had that 4th and goal call, terrible play call by Wisenhunt, and he got stopped and fumbled with no time left in the first half. But I would start including Eckler more.
Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post covers the Broncos, covers all things NFL. Join us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We're all spread out. Brett Martineau here in Brandon, Mississippi, hometown of Gardner Minshew, and Austin Lane back in the Action Sports Jacks studios. I don't understand why why you would even play Melvin Gordon there. Why don't you keep him on the practice field for an extra week? And if you're going to have these holdouts, why upset everything? You have a rhythm and a flow, and bam, you try to stick him in. I get it. I mean, he's been there before, and you can put your offense out there. You didn't need to play him 50 plays. But it just seems like you're trying to plug something in that hasn't been there, and I would at least delay that a week and see him on the practice field a little bit more.
Well, they'll never acknowledge this, but if I'm the Chargers, what I was thinking is an 0-4 Bronco team that just gave up 250 yards on the ground. The Chargers have Pittsburgh coming up on a Sunday night. Let's see if we can have Melvin Gordon get his legs a little bit. Yeah. And I think that would have been my thinking if I was the Chargers, and it didn't work out that way. Ryan, speaking of plug and playing, and granted, this is a different position. It's a completely different, set here. But obviously in Jacksonville right now, there's Minshew Mania. Brandon's stalking the guy in his hometown, for crying out loud. Like, it's taking the nation by storm, and so far Gardner Minshew's playing at a pretty high level. Well, eventually we got to start asking the question, when Nick Foles comes back healthy, what do you do with him? In your opinion, and you assume that Gardner Minshew keeps playing like he is right now, what do you do with Nick Foles? Do you start him, or do you play the hot hand? Well, if Minshew's hand is still hot, I would stick with them. And I think this is the game. This is the key one, because you have New Orleans at home, then you go to Cincinnati, and then are you in London?
Jets home.
Home to the Jets. London. Home to the Jets. Yeah. Okay, that's your 3-game thing right now. You should beat Cincinnati on the road. You should beat the Jets at home. So even if you go 2-1, and Minshew continues to play well, I think you're doing your team a disservice by trying to switch quarterbacks, because obviously the locker room believes in him. The statistics are showing that he is getting better, not leveling off, even though teams have much more tape on Gardner at this point. So I think the decision by Doug Marrone will be entirely dictated by the win-losses of the next couple of weeks, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, and it should be, because here's the deal. He's the one that has to have the pulse of that. That's the tricky part about being a coach. And I think it doesn't matter. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter what the statistics say. It does matter a little bit what the wins-loss record says. But it almost doesn't matter what the optics are outside. You can't worry about that part, the $22 million on the bench or the whatever. This was our guy. You can't lose your job to injury. That's not what matters. I think the ultimate thing that matters is what you said. This team's starting to believe in him. And if you take this 3-4 weeks down the road and you say, okay, if he still plays well, how much does this team believe in him? How much do they feel the energy? And they ride that, and they're used to this. That's the thing you don't want to upset. Not a lot different than what I just said about Melvin Gordon. Why upset what you have built through 4, 5, 6 weeks? Let's bring that along, see where it is, and kind of ease it back in instead of, bam, go ahead and play. It's a totally different situation because you're talking about taking a guy out. But I think it's more about how that feels in that locker room. And Doug Marrone, that's the big challenge. He'll have to get a sense of that big time in Jags headquarters. Well, and if they come back from London 5-4, then there's a no-brainer. Because that probably suggests the quarterback is still trying to play well, or still able to play well. But if they lose to New Orleans and they win and then lose to Houston, I think that's going to make Doug's decision tougher. And it's all about, okay,
who gives them the best chance to win that Sunday, not 2 and 3 Sundays away from now where it could be moot because they may not be in the chase. But I think from Maroon's perspective is AFC South, once again, is completely mediocre. That means everybody's in it, and it's all about who's going to get hot in late November, December. 2 years ago, it was the Jags. They pulled away. Last year it was Houston. So I think this really is the next 4 weeks will really tell the tale in terms of whether he needs to stick with Minshew.
Ryan O'Halloran with us from the Denver Post, joining us from out there in the Rocky Mountains where they're going to get 5 inches of snow tomorrow. It's going to be a high of 28, then going to be 70 the next day. How crazy is that? But, I've really tried to avoid this topic for a long time, but it's become a topic. And one of the things I even said, just to punch this home one more time, is I think when you look at records, I think it could simply be what you just said, Ryan. It could be if they're 5-4, he stays in. If they're 4-5, he comes out. I mean, that's the fine line here we're talking about. I think it could be that fine, so it'll be interesting. I want to ask you about this, man. We're seeing it around the league. We're seeing it in Jacksonville. All of a sudden, I believe this offense might even score 24 points, even against the New Orleans Saints, because they're moving the football. They played a good Carolina defense, and, yeah, they turned it over a bit, but they went up and down that field last week. They are doing things on offense. DJ Chark, Leonard Fournette, Gardner Minshew. In Baltimore, they've almost they're transitioning. They're saying, hey, we can be an electric offense now. We were a great defense. In New Orleans, I actually think they changed. It went from this offense that would score 40 a game and not play any defense, and now they're saying, hey, we can do a little bit of both, and it's a question mark whether which one's even better. It's a wild thing to experience kind of live and in action during a season that kind of the MO, the identity of your team, is changing. And I think that's happening in Jacksonville, but it's sometimes a hard thing to digest probably for a football team, its fans, and everybody else.
I mean, it's almost happened by mistake. In preseason, this was the talk, I think, in Jacksonville was this defense is going to be back to the form of 2 years ago, multiple Pro Bowlers, rush the passer, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Kansas City took care of that in the first half. And so now, some of these stats with Minshew, I sort of throw out that first game. But I liked how he played against Carolina because the Jags were clearly in chase the game mode pretty much from the start. They knew they would have to pass, yet he stood in there and made a bunch of plays. So, maybe the Jaguars' identity right now is offense first, and which is an astonishing turn of events compared to the last decade.
Ryan, and in your opinion, because that's kind of the way it is right now. It's the Jaguars' offense kind of carrying the team, and their defense is stumbling. I mean, especially in today's NFL, is there room for that type of team to make a Super Bowl run? I get it. We can talk about Philly scoring 41 a couple years ago against New England in the Super Bowl, but their defense was solid as well. I mean, is there room for a greatest show on turf way back in the day, back in the 90s, where you rely all on your offense and kind of your defense just kind of, chugs along, if you will?
Well, Kansas City is trying to prove it.
Yeah.
Because they can't stop anybody. And they almost made it to the Super Bowl last year with a defense that was in the last 3 or 4 teams in the league. They fired their coordinator, overhauled their personnel. And it probably isn't offense only. It probably isn't the greatest recipe because all it takes is one great defensive game plan to derail you. Look at, after the 2013 season, the Broncos had the number one offense in football. They went to the Super Bowl, got their doors blown out by Seattle 2 years ago, or 2 years later. Great defense. They beat Carolina for the title. So I think a balanced team is what's going to help you win. But Kansas City may just be that good on offense that they're able to overcome that.
Sure didn't look that good on Sunday night when the Indianapolis Colts beat them. It's a weird NFL. The Colts go beat the Chiefs, and they lose the week prior to the Raiders.
Oh, what
I want
a
to
game
stay
that
on
was.
the Raiders. Yeah, I'll stay on the
man.
You're still excited about it. I want to stay.
Running the ball 45 times, Ryan. Are you kidding me? Old school football, baby. Gotta love it.
Hey, Austin said that was better than what with your kid? What?
I mean, that would have been. That's better than watching my son be born. Basically, is what I compared it to. Watching a team run the ball 45 times down another team's throat, who's supposed to be all this explosive offense and everything. Man, just a thing of beauty. Now it was the Colts, so I wasn't. That was kind of hard to go with, but I was still a fan.
Ryan, I can't believe, man. We brought this guy on the radio show because I thought he was cool, and all he wants to do is run the damn football.
You have a sound effect for snoring. but you look at the game I was at with the Broncos and Chargers. Broncos used 2 or more tight ends on the field for 25 plays. They're going to come out. They're going to say, we're going to keep you in your base defense because you're banged up. Or we're going to try and run it down your throat. and they pretty much did that. So I think what makes great play callers in this league is the week-to-week adjustments. Gruden knows that that's not going to work every week, but on that particular day, it did.
Yeah, news just dropped, by the way, and I want to stay on the Raiders, and then I'll let you go, man. Vontaze Burfict, the appeal didn't go through. The suspension holds up. He's done for the year. A quick question on Burfict. Is he done forever? Do you think he'll play again? Boy, what a short leash he'll be on if he does. And secondly, just a thought or two on, are the Raiders for real? Those are two good wins over the Colts and Chicago, even though they didn't have Trubisky.
Yeah, first on Burfict, I think it's going to be tough for him to find another starting role because you can't count on him. You don't know whether you're going to have him for week to week because he is going to be on a zero tolerance with the league. And I thought when the suspension was originally announced last week that it probably would be cut down to maybe 10 games or 8 games because that's sort of why they pad it like that, is they expected the appeal. But then late last week, the NFL wink leaked a coach's tape play of him taking out a Colts linebacker 50 yards from the ball.
Yeah.
But to me, that was them building their public case to support a year-long suspension, which they end up upholding. Richie Igtogdido still plays in this league. There are a lot of other guys who've been suspended, have been cut, have been run out of town, who have found new homes. It's going to take somebody that is comfortable with their depth at linebacker and comfortable with him maybe costing his team and getting suspended and recovering from that. I would find it surprising whether anybody says he's going to be a starter in this league ever again.
And how about the Raiders just in general? Sorry, Austin, real quick. Are they for real, man?
I don't think so. I think they had a nice little surge here, and their schedule. They got after the bye, they got to go to Green Bay, and they got to go to Houston. So they haven't played a home game in forever. So if they can manage a split there, 4-3, okay, then you can start talking because then they have 3 in a row at home, including the Jaguars. So, I like the way they're playing defense. They overhauled their personnel there to play the style of Paul Gunther, but at least from the Raiders' perspective, things are going to be interesting over the next month or so.
Ryan, I want to quickly get your opinion a little more on this whole Vontaze Burfict thing, right? Because it's like you said, he may not get another shot in the NFL. And, without that cheap hit, he is still a decent football player. And I always compare him to Ndamukong Suh, a guy that I spent some time with playing in Detroit. And I always say that Ndamukong Suh off the field, man, is one of the best dudes you're ever going to meet. Very intelligent guy. But on the field, obviously he's the aggressive type and sometimes plays after the whistle. If he was from the 80s, we would be celebrating him, right? But now since the game has changed and everything, he's more like that villain. And do you think, listen, we always talk about the modern day NFL player being soft or being entitled. Do you think, though, around the league, the way they operate things in terms of those late hits and things like that, is the league kind of getting soft, too, in terms of that nature?
Well, it is protect the quarterback at all costs.
Yeah.
The Ngakoue fine last week for the hit on Flacco, by the letter of the book, it was a late hit. He didn't need to do that. But to get fined $21,000 for that on top of that, to me, it was a little excessive. The difference between Sue and Burfict is Sue had his personal come to Jesus and said, if I don't clean up my game, if I stop doing crap after the whistle, I still can play a long time because I can be a dominant player. Vontaze Burfict never had that message.
Sure.
He never saw that realization. And those suspensions keep adding up and adding up and adding up. Finally, the NFL said, you're done for the season. And unprecedented, but probably warranted.
Oh, my goodness. We could probably spend a whole nother segment, by the way, talking wrestling because we haven't caught up in a long time. Speaking of Vontaze Burfict, that might be his next stop somewhere in wrestling. But go at it, guys. AEW begins. They got another TV episode coming up tonight. And then the WWE's all over the and they're getting criticized, but they're on Fox now, and the ratings locally did pretty well. So what's the latest? Are you guys going to have enough time to discuss?
Yeah, Ryan, I got 3 quick questions for you. First question, what do you think of All Elite Wrestling? Did you watch the first episode?
I watched it.
Yeah.
I taped it. I thought the atmosphere was great. I think Tony Schiavone should take the lead role on announcing.
Yeah.
It was good to hear him. And then at the end, whatever the hell his name is right now, but I always refer to him as Jack Swagger. That's the kind of pop they needed.
Yeah.
That's the kind of pop they needed at the end of that show.
Well,
SmackDown Friday night.
Well, that was the next question. So SmackDown Friday night, speaking of pops, you got Tyson Fury coming out, picking a fight with Braun Strowman, and then you got Cain Velasquez going against Brock Lesnar. What were your thoughts about that?
Well, we start off with The Rock. You can't go wrong there.
Good point.
He's still the best on the mic compared to anybody on that roster. Okay, now you're surging a little bit. You get into the second half hour. You have a women's match. I mean, that's when you bring out Lesnar.
Yeah.
And so, I thought, a buddy of mine was at the show at Staples, and he said it was, a great atmosphere. I said, how many people knew who Velasquez was when he walked out?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
He laughed. He goes, maybe about a third. So
Yeah.
I don't think that delivered to kind of pop as much as the Tyson Fury thing. But you can already see it, Austin. You'll agree, probably. They're starting the road to WrestleMania last Friday night.
No, absolutely. They're starting the road. But my only issue is the fact that, listen, I get Cain Velasquez is a household name maybe to me because I follow MMA, maybe not to the regular wrestling fan, but he is good in the ring. I've seen him wrestle before. The guy's legit. But it begs the question, is WWE kind of focusing on getting all those ratings as opposed to just building up their talent that they have right now? Because they have so much talent that's not getting any airtime, and now they're replacing that airtime with guys like Tyson Fury and Cain Velasquez. We'll see. But my other question for you was, did you watch Hell in the Cell, and what were your thoughts on that?
I didn't watch Hell in the Cell yet because I was in L.A. I will, but I'll pick up where you left off on Fury and Velasquez. I agree with you. But I mean, this is WWE talent talking to Fox saying, okay, how can we make this show pop? But these guys aren't going to be regulars on TV. So I would have maybe saved them for the Las Vegas one coming up on Friday night and give Strowman a little bit of a push. Brock Lesnar, Kofi Kingston, a 3-second match. I mean, give me a break. That's a joke. So,
yeah, exactly.
But so it's sort of what I'm sure you do it when you're watching too. You're just gonna nitpick everything like a lot of people do when they're watching football games.
No, of course. I'm gonna complain about it, but guess what, Ryan? At the end of the day, I'm gonna come back and watch it again. So it is what it is, man.
And that's what Vince wants, and that's what AEW wants. Is, hey, I had problems A, B, and C with this show, but I can't wait for next week.
Exactly.
They got a good thing going on it right now, and that's for sure. That was I almost went and got like a hot dog
Brent.
or something. That was good though. I'm entertained. I'm learning more about it.
Yep.
And hashtag Wrestling Wednesday I think is trending. So
I like that.
You guys are talking about it and covering it as well as the NFL too. Ryan O'Halloran, thanks for joining us, man. These conversations get longer and longer, but everybody wanted to hear your wrestling thoughts.
All right, fellas. We'll talk to you next week.
All right,
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post covers Broncos, covers the NFL, knows a lot about the Jags as well, and like catching up with Ryan O. I still can't believe it's going to snow 5 inches tomorrow. It'll be 28 degrees and then be 70 and 65 on Sunday for the game.
I'm so jealous, man. That sounds like the perfect atmosphere.
That's how you get sick now.
That is how you get sick, though, for sure.
We'll be talking to O'Halloran next week.
Beating. Yeah,
O'Halloran's going to have a cold next week when we talk to him. No doubt. We wish him well. Take some Advil. Take whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we got Stay in Your Lane a little bit later. Let's talk more football, of course, when we come back. And I want to mention the baseball playoffs. Hey, did you know the Huckleberry Bet is still alive,
that
Austin?
It is.
Oh, baby.
Holding on by a thread.
ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly to at times mostly cloudy tonight. A little breezy this evening as temperatures drop into the upper 60s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
We're coming to Jacksonville. Hey, everybody. Trey Wingo will be in town for the Georgia-Florida game and want to invite you to come watch us do our show live from Intuition Ale Works on Friday, November 1st.
What better way could you spend your Friday morning? Take your time. We'll wait. Well, looks like we'll be seeing you at Intuition Ale Works. Everyone's invited, but only a few are going to get the VIP treatment.
To register for your chance to win VIP passes, go to ESPN690.com.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know, the longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Honda of the Avenues is the Honda Giant with close to 700 new Hondas and quality pre-owned vehicles and award-winning service department. Jacksonville's car buyers have options and they want your car shopping experience to be fast, fun, and hassle-free. That's what you'll get on every visit, every time. Put Honda of the Avenues to the test and let them show you a fresh new approach to car shopping at Honda of the Avenues, online at hondaoftheavenues.com. The Honda Giant.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander, it's not $35,000. Now it's only $24,688. Yeah, $24,688 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. How about a Toyota RAV4? It's not $29,865. No way. It's just $21,888. $21,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details. It's coming like an avalanche of savings.
Rocks, big ones, little ones, all beautiful and all one of a kind.
Rocktober.
Yes, all of our GIA certified diamonds are on sale for 1 week only.
And only at Beard's Diamonds.
Get her the rock she's always wanted and take an extra 20% off Beard's Diamonds' already unbeatable prices.
Rocktober.
It's your chance to buy like the dealers buy.
Choose from half carat to 10 carat at prices never before seen.
Beard's Diamonds Rocktober for 1 week only, October 14th through the 20th.
Choose from North Florida's largest inventory at the lowest prices.
Rounds, ovals, princess cuts, pear shapes, cushion cuts, even fancy yellow diamonds.
All GIA certified and on sale.
Now's the time to get a bigger, better rock. Rocktober.
For 1 week only, October 14th to the 20th, and only at Beard's Diamonds.
Where exceptional is affordable. In the St. John's Town Center and at beardsdiamonds.com.
There's a lot of reasons for buying flowers for your wife or girlfriend. Birthdays, anniversaries, you're in trouble again. But those are all pretty cliche. How about you get her flowers because she fixed your favorite dinner? Or just because you want to surprise her? No matter the occasion, or no occasion at all, check out Seawalk Custom Florals. They even deliver. Visit SeawalkCustomFlorals.com or call 904-554-0617. And don't forget about your mom either. Seawalk Custom Florals.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by StarStar, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing StarStar Mobile from your mobile phone. That's StarStar Mobile. When prospective customers see your offline or online ad and they dial your branded StarStar Mobile number, StarStar Mobile helps to convert them through text, voice, and online communications. Give it a try now by dialing StarStar Mobile from your mobile phone. That's StarStar Mobile.
Golick and Wingo.
I think my jersey was one of the top-selling jerseys around the world, and I didn't make a dollar from it, but nor did I want to.
I respect Tim Tebow. I respect his opinion. I love his passion. I just could not disagree with it more.
Golick and Wingo. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Ben's been here, so, we're comfortable. He knows the system. He can come in and go right away. We'll just see how he looks. I mean, he's in shape. He's ready to go. He stayed prepared. Obviously, he's worked out for other teams, and, we're fortunate enough that, we were able to get him back in a time where, we lost a player for the year who was, really doing a nice job for us.
That's Ben Koyak will join the Jacksonville Jaguars, or he has joined the Jacksonville Jaguars. James O'Shaughnessy goes on IR with the torn ACL. Doug Marrone talking about that situation today, and who knows how much Ben Koyak will help. I think if they get Josh Oliver on the field, I think that has the chance to make a difference in the tight end spot for the Jags. But until then, John DeFilippo has shown just the ability to get any tight end involved, and I think James O'Shaughnessy was off to a good start. We'll see if Koyak and others can kind of jump in there. But, oh, my goodness, we'll talk about the Jags in a moment. The breaking news here is the Braves got 3 outs. They finally got 3 outs. They gave up 10 runs before they did it. 10-0 in the first inning. The Cardinals have taken the lead in a decisive Game 5. Stuart Weber right now
well,
is
there goes my prediction.
Like I'm playing a joke on him.
No,
I am not playing a joke on him. I went in there and I was like, I actually said, is this like a replay of some game like that happened during the season?
Yeah.
Like, no, that just started. Top of the first, 2 outs. It was 9-0. They've added another. It's 10-0. The Braves are done. They're done 20 minutes into their decisive Game 5 of the NLDS. It's the worst feeling in the world. I think I even brought this up like a week ago when we started the playoffs. Like the worst thing you can have happen. Remember, it was like the wild card game.
Yeah.
And I said, you just don't want to lose it like in the first inning and know it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw the look on Freddie Freeman's face as he's on first base with 2 outs and it's 9-0, and he knows it's over. The game's over. Like, you don't have to watch. Like, this should be an all-time low in terms of ratings because they are not coming back from 10-0 down in the first inning. I believe you should wait and you should try to scratch and claw. And if I was in that dugout, I'd be saying all the right things and believing all the right things.
Yeah.
But it's not happening, man.
Well,
the game's over. That sucks.
This is like a Murray State Louisville score right now, Brent, going on in the first half. Wow. Yeah, 10-0 in the first inning. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say, especially, the Braves being at home and everything as well. Not what I saw happening. Wow.
Well, and, Stuart Weber was concerned about this game, too. He's a Braves fan. He was talking about it. And I said, they lost the way they lost, what was it, 4-3, I think it was, in 10 innings the other night. And they had that game.
Mm-hmm.
And they had chances. In the 7th and 8th inning, I think they left the bases loaded. And so you feel the momentum switch a bit. But, you know what? You're going home. It's one thing if you're going on the road and you're staying on the road and you lose a game like that. You had a day to get over it. You come back home, all those things, and I still think you're the better team than the Cardinals. So I wasn't as concerned about it, but Stuart might be right on the money here that, that kind of carries over. I think I just saw Gene Fournette tweet something like when the Cardinals played the Royals, they got thumped in Game 7 of the World Series. Well, Game 6 was that famous Deckinger call at first base, where the Cardinals lost the game in Game 6, like 2-1.
Okay.
And so then all of a sudden the floodgates opened and they lost like 11-0 in Game 7. So maybe that momentum is kind of real, especially if you lose a heartbreaker, get a bad call, one of those things. But the Braves, I feel awful for Braves fans because that's a fun team, an exciting team. I don't care about the Braves or Cardinals, but I'd rather watch the Braves play right now. I just think they're more of an exciting team. I've seen the Cardinals enough.
Yep.
And I have all the respect in the world for the Cardinals organization. They know how to win, but that stinks for baseball. It would have been really fun to watch Atlanta advance, and they're not going to do it now.
Well, and since we're on the topic of baseball right now and your Huckleberry bet, I have to ask you, what were your thoughts of the game last night? And more specifically, listen, I respect Justin Verlander, right? He's the ace for the Houston Astros. They really have like 3 or 4 aces, but he's the big ace for the Astros. And then the fact that he kind of came out and said, listen, I want the ball in my hand. I want to go on short days rest. I want to be the guy. And we saw it happen last night. He had a rough first inning, and the Astros couldn't rebound from that. I mean, if you're the manager, Brent, do you just put it in the Aces' hand and you say, all right, Verlander, go win it for us. I respect it. Or, do you realize that, listen, he's on short days rest. He doesn't pitch a lot on short days rest. And do you just go with your usual lineup?
I think this time of year it's all about adrenaline anyway.
Yeah.
I think they could have waited, but they also are allowed that opportunity with Verlander. One, because, knock on wood, but he doesn't really get hurt. He's a workhorse.
True.
So putting him on a short day rest isn't going to hurt him. Two, they have the analytics about who does well against everybody else, and I don't know what that looked like going against Tampa and his record, his career record. But I think really the most important thing, Austin, is you can roll the dice here with Verlander because you're coming back.
You have Garrett Cole now.
And you have Cole.
Yeah.
And by the way, you might even have Greinke in relief.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a luxury there for Houston to say, you know what, it's not ideal, but we can do this because does it really matter if we have Verlander or Cole throwing in Game 5?
Yeah.
Probably not. They're both really good. Mm-hmm. So I think that allowed the luxury for that. It will always be second guess, but I've seen it work out a lot of times where you're patting a guy in the back and saying, hey, man, you're awesome. Thanks for taking the ball. 3 days rest. You gutted it out, and you still got it done, and the adrenaline was pumping, and we're in the postseason. So I don't mind that at all. If I'm a fan, if I'm a manager, if I'm a GM and the owner of the team, I want my best guys out there as much as possible.
Sure.
Short series, long series. And I have no problem the way these things are being managed so far. Now, there are some folks that say the bullpen's been mismanaged by the Braves, but I'm talking like Scherzer and Strasburg and the way they've used those guys, even Corbin, who got lit up by the Dodgers, and the way they'll probably use the Dodgers pitching staff in a Game 5 against the Nats, the way Houston's using it. It's all in, man. You got to do whatever you got to do, and sometimes you make the right call, sometimes you don't make the right call. But you give a lot of credit to the Rays. And, I've been screaming about Kevin Cash. What a job this guy's done. What a job their front office has done. But how about the players to respond like that down 2-0 to probably the best team in baseball? I mean, they're better than the Dodgers. They're better than the Yankees. They're better than the Braves. On paper, Houston is the best team in baseball, in my opinion, with that staff and that dynamic lineup. And they got shell-shocked in the first 2 games. They come back and win these 2 and give themselves a chance. That's really good stuff. I mean, it is so cool to see what the Tampa Bay Rays have done. And so from that standpoint, the Huckleberry Bet standpoint, I'm still at a loss. I told you this yesterday. I was playing a little mental gymnastics because I don't want the Yankees going to the World Series. And I don't know if but I am rooting for the Rays a bit because Ty's a Rays fan. I think that would be really cool. The Rays haven't had a lot of good seasons. And I would have a chance at the Huckleberry Bet, although I think my best chance of knocking off the Yankees is Houston. So, again, the mental gymnastics continue, but I was excited for the Rays. I still don't know where I'm at with this thing when it comes down to tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
But I was excited for the Rays. And if they were able to pull this off, which I still think would be monumental if they did it, I'd still be alive for the Huckleberry Bet, so I got to be happy with that.
You would be. You know what, man? At the end of the day, you have given yourself a chance to win it, right? And that's all that matters. Now, whatever happens after that, it happens. Yes, Houston's pretty good. They're at home. Whatever, Brent. Don't worry about that. At least you have a shot. You have an opportunity, and that's all you want right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happmes. By the way, the Braves game, I think we will join it in progress. I'm not sure there is much progress to be made.
What a treat.
But we'll also have, I think Kuz said we'll also have the Nats and the Dodgers later tonight. So
I was going to say,
at least have a good game. Join in for the first inning.
Well, if that's the case, me and Kuz are going to talk basketball for the next 3 hours here in the studio, and I'm sure it'll get more viewership than that game. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, so anyway, ESPN 690 does have the baseball playoff, so tune in for that. I always wonder how big of a baseball town this is. Stuart and I were checking out the ratings locally for the Braves game coming off. What was that, Stuart? Game 4. That was the Game 4 game. He's so distraught right now. Like we won't even talk about it. He's like, this is my fault because I'm talking about it, But anyway, the ratings were really strong in Jacksonville. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And it was even like an afternoon start, kind of like this one is.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that's good. I like to see that because it's a great baseball area. But from a fandom standpoint on the Braves and the Rays and the Marlins and having a local team interest, it doesn't really have a great MLB following. I know back in the day, Braves fans were big, especially when they went on that run. But you just don't feel it in Jacksonville. Well, if the Braves can be good, and they go on a run here for the next however many years, maybe you bring a little bit of that back in Jacksonville, and it looks like the Braves have the opportunity to do that.
And that was my question to you, Brent. Where you're at right now, Mississippi, I mean, do you get a sense for like who their major league team is? Like, is it a team in Texas? Is it a team that's like St. Louis? Who are most Mississippi fans cheering for in Major League Baseball?
Good question. I don't really have a good answer.
Yeah.
When I polled the kids today about their football team, It was obviously the Jags' interest now, but big Saints fan, and they also had some Cowboy fans, which isn't too far away.
Sure.
So that makes a lot of sense. College, I don't know. I didn't get a sense of that. I mean, it's not like you're a Texas Rangers fan, right?
No,
I'm sure
for
they
sure.
have some young, new Houston Astros fans because that team's been pretty
That's
fun.
kind of what I was leaning towards, yeah.
But I really don't know. Yeah,
Interesting.
That's a good question.
Okay.
I'm not sure where that one does sit. Speaking of Brandon, Mississippi, the place that we have been, this has been a really cool visit, and it's all about Gardner Minshew and Minshew Mania. Minshew talked today about it, and what I do think he's done a good job of, Austin, is he slowed this thing down. And you heard me ask the question to some of the folks we had on the last couple of days, is I feel like he's handled this well. I love the fact that he's embraced it. He's embraced the moment. He's embraced the idea that he's kind of this folk hero, and he's not trying to deny it. He's not turning it away. But now I can sense a little bit of a shift with Gardner, too. Now that he knows that he's playing pretty well, this is his football team for the next month at the very least. I do sense that he's kind of saying, okay, you guys can deal with all that stuff, have fun with it, but I'm not really going there anymore, all right? Now, that doesn't say he won't answer a question about it, maybe not do an interview about it, maybe not do some fun stuff. But I do think he's trying to put that part of it on the back burner a little bit more after embracing it for a month. And now it's all football. Get these guys rallying behind me. What can I do to help them out? How much better can I get? And where can we be in a month that I know I'm at least playing through game number 9 of the season?
Yeah, and listen, I can't say enough of just, the upbringing that we've really talked to, whether it's his friends, whether it's his dad that we talked to yesterday in Flint. That environment that he found himself in Mississippi, Brandon, Mississippi, growing up, that prepped him for where he's at now, right? Because I get it, he's from a smaller town. He goes to Pullman, Washington State. 1 year, has really good success, kind of becomes, like this cult hero in Washington State. But truth be told, that's still Pullman, Washington, right? And if I tell someone to say, what is Pullman, Washington famous for, I guarantee the normal person isn't going to say, oh, yeah, Washington State Cougars. I didn't know where Pullman was until I met Gardner Minshew, all right? So from that perspective, it's still that smaller town atmosphere. And all of a sudden you have a guy who gets drafted and, truth be told, goes to a smaller market in Jacksonville, but it's still a big city. It's still millions of people that are spread out in the state of Florida. So, whether it's the pressure, whether it's just the expectations, whatever it is, Gardner Minshew's met it head on and has passed every test so far with flying colors. Now obviously the big question going forward is, can he continue to keep passing those tests and everything like that? But as far as the physical stuff, yeah, I mean, he's had some bumps and nicks. He had an injured knee a little bit. He seems to be fine, though. He had a rough first preseason game, but it's always the mentality, Brent. And that's what we've seen. The mentality has always been there. He's always there to ask for more, and that's been the most impressive thing about Gardner Minshew so far.
We're going to go to a break in a minute. We'll put a bow on all our coverage from Brandon, Mississippi, plus stay in your lane. But let me ask you this, because you're talking about all that, and the physical stuff is one thing. But when you're a rookie and you're a quarterback and the room has to rally around you, and don't you have to be careful of all this stuff? Like, you have to separate it a little bit. You're still a rookie. You're still trying to earn respect, yet people can embrace the attention, and there's just this fine line. Isn't there a weird dynamic sometimes in that in professional sports?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the last thing you want to do, Brent, is spread yourself too thin, right? And I think Gardner Minshew's done a really great job of that, because for all things considered, with this mustache character, this folk hero that we've been talking about, I mean, he could easily take that and run with it as far as he can, but he doesn't. He's staying true to himself, and when it's in the press conference, he's answering questions truthfully. So, once again, that's not something you can teach. That's just from your upbringing. That's from his family. That's from his high school coaches. That's from Mike Leach, whoever it's from. But they did a great job with Gardner Minshew.
My big takeaways from a couple of days in Brandon, Mississippi. We'll put a bow on our Minshew Mania tour here at least for a couple of days, plus stay in your lane next on ESPN 690.
This is Golic and Wingo.
Here is Will Kane, ladies and gentlemen.
Jerry Jones meant nothing. It's quite clearly a joke. Can we not try to use victimhood as our ace of spades in the ultimate card game of life?
You know what this is? Rocky Arsenault using something to negotiate.
Yeah.
It's not victimhood. It's not a plague sweeping society. It's, okay, you said something, and I'm going to use it to my advantage. That's it.
Golic and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Right now, at T-Mobile, when you come in and switch, you get the amazing iPhone 11 or iPhone 11 Pro on us with qualifying trade-in.
Here we are out in majestic nature, and you're on your phone.
I'm posting these amazing pics I took with my iPhone 11 Pro. It has 3 cameras.
Whoa, those pics are amazing. And you have service too?
T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever before.
Then you can look up whether these are bear tracks, right?
Or we could just run.
Come to a T-Mobile store today and get iPhone 11 or iPhone 11 Pro on us with qualifying trade-in. Military families and veterans also get 50% off family lines.
Contact us if you cancel or credits may stop and full price due. Phone via 24 monthly credits for well-qualified customers with qualifying service and finance agreement. Plus tax. iPhone 11 Pro, 0 down with trade-in plus $31.25 times 24 months. Pre-credit price $999.99. 0% APR. Very limited iPhone 11 Pro quantities. Verified military get 50% off extra price for lines 2 through 6 versus Magenta with AutoPay.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all 3. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations, or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McNeil from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour is well underway at Best Bet Jacksonville. Lock up your seat in the $5,000 buy-in Best Bet Bounty Scramble for just $120. You'll find satellites going on now and every day throughout the entire series. Get ready to take your shot at $1 million prize pool and the WPT main event. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you.
Okay.
Then you need to be online where they look for you.
Online, huh?
Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for all that. I need to run my business. Alexa, can you help me find someone that can help me with online marketing?
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level so you can get back to running it. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McNeil from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville and the $5,000 buy-in Best Bet Bounty Scramble kicks off October 11th, featuring a $1 million guaranteed prize pool. Come play with 30 of the most acclaimed celebrities from around the globe. Knock any of them out and receive $2,500 in cash. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
At the 1955 Rose Bowl, Goodyear began providing stunning aerial coverage of college football, forever changing the way the game is experienced. In recognition of its significant contribution, the Goodyear blimp is being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as an honorary member. It's the first non-player or coach to ever be inducted. Goodyear is celebrating this honor by reminding you to look forward and make sure you're prepared for the road ahead. Discover more at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
What's the fastest way to get behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota? Toyota Rent-A-Car from my friends over at Arlington Toyota. The 2020 models are now arriving at Arlington Toyota, and Toyota Rent-A-Car is the best way to try it before you buy it. Got a road trip coming up, a long weekend with the girls, or a football getaway maybe? Toyota Rent-A-Car at Arlington Toyota's got you covered with an amazing selection of 2020 Toyotas that are road and rental ready. Everything about renting a Toyota from Arlington Toyota is easy. They've got amazing 2020 models, simple online reservations, and staff that's always eager to help. Gotta tell you, the hardest part's gonna be when it's time to turn your rental back in. These 2020s are sweet. Toyota Rent-A-Car from Arlington Toyota is ready to put you behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota for your next adventure. Just visit arlingtontoyota.com. That's arlingtontoyota.com and get your online reservation started today.
What's good, Stephen A?
If you're a New York Jets fan, let's just say this. Damn, you can't catch a break. I mean, the New York Jets, when's the last time they've been relevant?
Catch Stephen A. weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on the ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, no, we've taken every measure in practice, focusing on ball security, always having somebody kind of ripping at the ball, trying to do whatever we can to get it right. It's something we're not just gonna, think's just gonna go away. We're gonna actively, fight it and try to get better at it.
You get to feel like Gardner Minshew wants to be like, I'm not fumbling on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm trying to make a play and I fumbled. So,
Yeah.
or the offensive lineman, what do you want me to tell you? Andrew Norwell, hit me? Again, it's a tough spot to be in sometimes answering those questions, but he does a pretty good job of it. Brent Martin, Brandon, Mississippi. Austin Lane, back in the Action Sports Jack studios. I'll be back there tomorrow. Hey, by the way, Minshew Mania. All over the place, even at Sports Mania back in Jacksonville, Jack's Beach. There's like a line wrapped around the building. I think he's doing a signing today.
Yes.
And so there's that going on, and there's all this stuff going on here. And like we were saying, you got to pick your spots where to go in and be, and so many opportunities right now for Gardner Minshew. I want to talk a little bit about what we learned here and how fun this has been, but I want to get to stay in your lane first so I don't leave you short time. Go ahead. What you got?
I appreciate it. Yeah, so stay in your lane. The timing is there. I like it. So cruise control. We talked about this guy a little bit. Brent, you're in his hometown. Demario Davis has won his appeal after the NFL fined him over his Man of God headband. So thanks to the public outcry and even students back at that school who were rocking the headbands with him, he won't have to pay his fine now. So I think they're going to let him keep on wearing that headband as they should. It's not hurting anybody. I think it's great to promote a great cause. So props to him and congratulations to him for not getting fined.
You would think that the bandanas were made in Brandon, Mississippi, huh?
Right? Yeah. Everyone's rocking one of those things from there.
Absolutely. All right, pump your brakes.
So pump your brakes. Well, Brent, I gave Philadelphia some love in the Ballin segment.
You did.
It's time for Philadelphia to pump their brakes a little bit as well. Not sure if you've seen this or not yet, Brent, but the Philadelphia Flyers have implemented something, needless to say, it's pretty interesting in their hockey arena. For $35 or for $70 for two people, you and a friend can enter the Rage Room. And basically the Rage Room is a mock room that's set up for NHL fans to destroy things with a baseball bat. Not making this up. There's actually a Rage Room now where the Philadelphia Flyers play.
I think we need to have a sports psychologist or just a regular psychologist in that Rage Room.
I mean, Kuz, is that like the ultimate disrespect to Philly, or what's up with the Rage Room, dude? Real quick.
I mean, instead of getting mad at each other, why not go in the room and break your TV?
Yeah, and pay $75 for it. No, thank you.
Good pump your brakes, by the way. I saw that. That was a pretty unique thing. Do you think that has staying power, or is it like a one-off thing?
So I guess what I read about it, it's really big in Japan. So who knows? I don't think it has staying power because I feel like you go to a hockey game to watch the action and not go in rage rooms, but I could be wrong, Brent. I don't know.
All right. Hey, this has been a really fun trip here to Brandon, Mississippi. You've been mentioning the people. You can almost get a sense. They're so proud of this guy, and also Demario Davis. His name mentioned a bunch in the last couple of days, but obviously not the reason we are here. And so hospitable, really good people. No doubt about that. Southern hospitality's the finest, and you get it here in Mississippi. But they're so proud of this guy. And there's two things that really the big takeaways. One, I think he's got this hometown hero impact. And I think you probably feel that back home a little bit when you go to your small town in Wisconsin, Austin, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're proud of you. There's hey, that guy came from here. That guy went here. There's always that small town part. You don't have to be an athlete, by the way. You can, maybe you're a politician, maybe you're this or that, and you're successful, but they're from my hometown. That's always fun stuff. But I think there's an added element here that genuinely there's a belief that this family is humble and kind, if you will. They're really good people. And Gardner Minshew is a really good guy, and it's easy to root for him. Even with all the hype, where you could get kind of sick of it or anything like that, not here. They're enjoying every minute of it. They're so proud of him. They're happy for him, happy for the family and the way they've handled it. So you really get that sense being around all the people here that have been so good to us. And I said this countless times yesterday, but it's worth revisiting again. And it's also, I think, one of the beliefs that why he's having so much success. And people talk about his work ethic and all these things. Well, that happens when you have a huge chip on your shoulder. And there were people in the state of Mississippi, at Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, Dan Mullen included, at Southern Miss, that passed on Gardner Minshew for playing for their football program 3 different times. When he was coming out of high school, when he was coming out of Northwest Mississippi Community College, if they're winning a national championship, by the way, that this whole town drove to and watched him play in and win. And then when he left East Carolina and was looking for another opportunity, well, looks like he was going to go to Alabama, ends up at Washington State. But nobody around here in this state that loves football said, hey, Gardner Minshew, you might be good here. And that irks people. And they still are bothered by that. But they also believe that this journey that now he ends up in Jacksonville in the NFL as a 6th-round pick and all these things probably wouldn't have happened without it. So it's a great dynamic of chip on their shoulder. We love our hometown guy, but what a journey. Don't give up. All those things, kind of cliche. I think Gardner Minshew has proven not only to himself, to this town, to the people that helped him get here, but also to a younger generation. We talked to the star quarterback of their football team going to Mississippi State. He's had a huge impact on that young man. We talked to a lot of elementary school kids today, which was a lot of fun, and they know who this guy is. That's a guy that they'll always say, that's from my hometown. I want to be like Gardner Minshew. It's a really cool scene here in Brandon, Mississippi.
Without a doubt, right? And we always talk about here, Brent, where everyone's on the Gardner Minshew train, right? Like everyone wants to buy a ticket, they want to take a ride. Well, look no farther than Brandon, Mississippi, okay? And I'm a firm believer that you are a direct correlation, you are a direct product of the environment that you come from. And this week it's been cool where we get to see exactly where Gardner Minshew came from, whether it was his high school coach, a principal, his father. You know, like we put those pieces together and we start to see, all right, this makes sense. This is why Gardner Minshew is the way he is. And Brandon in Mississippi has every right to be excited for Gardner Minshew because they're a big reason why he is the guy that he is right now. They're a big reason why he's having so much success in the NFL. So props to Brandon, Mississippi, man. The people in that town, I'm bummed that I didn't get to go see it, visit, but for everything that I've heard on this side of the headphones here, Brent, it sounds like it's a pretty sweet spot.
Yeah, and you can watch more of it on TV tonight at 6:50 on Fox 30, but all weekend long, and really for the next few weeks. We've done some stories that we'll kind of save and we'll unveil and showcase through the next few weeks of this football season about Gardner Minshew and how these folks have wrapped their arms around it, just like the folks back in Jacksonville have. Big shout-out to everybody that helped do this, from you guys back there to Stuart Weber here, but the folks at Brandon High School and the people that have been around. Man, it's like this is their first call, and they're making it happen. This is like their 500th call about Gardner Minshew. And they still made it happen. And the folks here at Jenna Bena's and the Gallows, they've housed us today. What a great place. If you ever stop by Brandon, Mississippi, come check it out. The history behind it, the food's fantastic, and the people are outstanding in Brandon, Mississippi. That'll do it for today's show. We'll be back in studio tomorrow, and we'll talk more Jags and what's happening with Jalen Ramsey, Gardner Minshew, and everyone else. For Coos, Stuart Weber, Austin Lane, I'm Brent Martineau. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on TV tonight. It is the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and it can be your golf destination. The Golf Club at Southampton. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. The Golf Club at